stores go out of business the same reason any store goes out of business. And the fact of the matter is, stores go out of business every day. They don't last 1 or 2 years. If they can't get through the first few years, they have trouble making it at all. The problem is that people who own comic book stores generally open a comic book store out of emotion. They go, I always wanted a comic book store. I always wanted to open a shop. And so I wanted to do it, and I have my collection. And I have 20,000 comics that I've collected over my life, and I'm going to open this comic book store. And it's going to be great. They've never taken a business class in their life. They've never even read a book on business. And they open their comic book store with their 20,000 books, and they start going, and they borrow money. They put things on their credit cards with no plan, no business plan, no business model. They don't know how they're going to pay it off. They just figure, I'll make plenty of money. Within 6 months to a year, their comic collection is sold. So now what? Do you have any plan how to get more inventory? Did you ever think about what you were going to do as far as the new comics were concerned? What about all the other product that people want? All of these things, now you're in it. Now you're just trying to stay afloat. The problem is that for the next 10 years, that's all you're doing. 10 years go by fast. Staying afloat. I want to pay off this credit card that I've had forever, but oh man, now I got to give this distributor money if I want to get this product. They're going to come in next week. All the other stores have it. You've spent 10 years running a business, and you've never taken a business class. And you never stopped to take a business class. And you never upgraded your register into a POS system. All of those things are, yes, they're learning curves, but why does any store fail? Because you didn't prepare. Why does anything fail? Because you weren't prepared.
The grift is dying. Anti-woke content and rhetoric has been a pretty significant and loud voice within media and pop culture spaces online, especially YouTube, for many years now. However, it seems the tides are slowly turning, and the days of making 10 videos about Brie Larson in an interview, or how the casting of a black person in a Disney movie will cause that movie to fail, could be behind us. Perhaps the Chud apocalypse is real. However, what are claims without evidence? So today I'll try to sum up some of the most significant examples of the growing disinterest in anti-woke content that we at the Initiative have pointed out within the past couple of months. Also, just FYI, I'm a bit sick right now. I don't know if you can hear, but if this video sounds weird, that's it. That's the reason. Like, subscribe, check out my memberships, and let's delve right into it. And we're starting with a clip of Geeks and Gamers from a recent Friday Night Tights where he gets into a bit of a scuffle with the other members. Now, we've been saying this for a long time. Anyone who's been in this YouTube space for a while, whether it's anyone from the Initiative or Sanderhall or Vosh or anyone who has at any point made videos about Geeks and Gamers or any of the other anti-woke channels, has been saying that all these channels ever do is focus on the things they don't like, because of course dunking on the failures of Disney and Marvel and feminists and woke culture is what gets them views. The outrage is what fuels their audience and their channels, and listen, it's perfectly fine to talk about things you don't like on YouTube. Most media critics and commentators do so. It's fun to critique things we don't like and explain why, but this is excessive. And it's been excessive for years and years now. Most of these channels, especially someone like Ryan Cannell, makes multiple videos on any tiny little thing he can pretend to be mad about. He forces outrage to complain about properties that he often doesn't even care about. You never heard these guys talk about The Little Mermaid or how much they loved Snow White until these newer supposedly woke remakes came out. Suddenly, they're all massive fans and they can't believe that Disney would ruin their childhoods. And so they also force themselves to watch these things that they've spent months proving that they already hate and don't want to watch, but yet they still do and get angry about it. They rarely ever talk about things they actually like. Movies and TV shows, video games and comics that they think are awesome. And in the rare chance that they do, it's often as a means to take a dump on something they don't like. For so long now, this anti-woke space has done nothing but constantly fuel outrage clicks, giving their audiences something to be mad about, whether it's anything real or fabricated, instead of trying to talk about the things that they do like for a change. But I guess focusing on more positive things doesn't get them nearly the same amount of views. And we've been saying this for a long time now, and recently on our streams, DJ from Eric Debunks has begun pointing out that Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers had begun to seem tired of this grift. He's been removing himself from the anti-woke space more and more, and honestly, it seems like he's starting to burn out. And in this clip from Friday Night Tights, he actually exposes a lot of what we've been saying for years. So if you don't believe us and think we're wrong, then here, listen to Jeremy say it.
Yeah, One Piece is objectively better.
What's more successful? What's more successful?
Well, One Piece would have been more successful. Like
maybe not. You don't know that.
No, I know that. I absolutely
know.
we do.
No, you don't.
Jeremy,
you literally said it took you 4 episodes to get into it. You told me it took you 4 episodes to get into it. If
something's good, it's good. People will watch it anyway, especially if it's weekly.
That's right. My point being is what's dominating? Netflix. All the weekly models, nobody gives a shit about anything coming out.
No, but the point is that we talked about One Piece for 1, maybe 2 weeks.
Yep.
Whereas bro, Five Nights at Freddy's is dominating at the fucking box office, and we're talking about Loki.
We talked about
Five Nights
it.
At Freddy's is making more money than any film in recent memory. We're talking about Loki.
We talked about Five Nights at Freddy's. We talked about Five Nights at Freddy's this week.
Shitty Marvel and shitty Star Wars.
But it was relevant.
We would talk about shitty Marvel, shitty Star Wars if it was weekly or if it was binge. We would talk about it. That's what we do.
Yeah, but the thing
I would rather talk about Five Nights at Freddy's right now. I've seen Five Nights at Freddy's twice.
It's got nothing to do with the actual fucking argument, which is the only reason you brought it up.
No,
yeah, absolutely.
So the argument is we'd still be talking about One Piece because
we should still be talking about One Piece right now. What's stopping us?
It's not in the zeitgeist anymore because they released it all at once.
What's stopping us? I'll talk about One Piece right now. Let's talk about it. Fuck this Loki bullshit. I haven't watched it. I don't give a fuck about Marvel. Let's talk about One Piece and Five Nights at Freddy's right now.
No.
Oh, okay, then. Well, then don't sit there and tell me that people aren't talking about it. You don't want to talk about it.
Jeremy, I have a 30-minute fucking video on One Piece. You can go watch that.
Okay,
I sat down and edited a 30-fucking-minute video.
That's my point being
we spent a month on it. What's your favorite part?
We could be talking about One Piece right now. No one's stopping us.
No. The weekly model is stopping. We are driven by the zeitgeist of entertainment, Jeremy.
You are. I'm not.
Here, Jeremy.
We can talk about it right now. What's stopping us from talking about One Piece? What's stopping us?
What is there to talk? The thing is, what is there to talk about with One Piece?
That's the same thing I can ask about Loki. What is there to talk about? It's dog shit. It's Marvel.
It just came out.
Yes, a new episode just came out, and
nobody cares about it.
Now the others do try to counter some of his arguments by talking about the zeitgeist and how One Piece isn't being spoken about much anymore, whereas Loki is fresh, at least at the time of this video, but that doesn't explain why they weren't talking about Five Nights at Freddy's or Killers of the Flower Moon, which were relevant at the time of this stream. And also the whole topical news thing is also kind of bullshit because they often create their own topical news. Brie Larson saying something in an interview wouldn't be a big deal if these guys weren't there to make a big deal out of it. They often force outrage, they don't simply respond to it. And it's really refreshing to see Jeremy calling out how they always focus on the bad media rather than the stuff that is actually good. Whoa! What's that? Oh, that's a shit. Why don't you go and subscribe to it? I dare you. I fucking dare you. How's that? That's pretty good.
You're selling a product. You're providing an experience. And you're providing experience for what they think is my people, my comic book people. And I constantly say to new owners, you already have them. Why are you creating a store for them? They're going to come anyway. You need to create a store for the other people who come in and want to stay, who are drawn in by this new experience. You're creating a shop for them. You're creating a shop for women who are, right now, 51% of the growth market in comics. 51% of the growth market are women. That means my store has to be geared towards the women's shopping experience. Do you know what the women's shopping experience is? No, you don't. You might think you do, but you don't. There's research that's developed over the last 80 years that you can read about that are all about the psychology of women shopping. And you can take that information and collate it and go, okay, it has to be clean, it has to be open because women need space when they shop, it has to be bright, it has to have soft music, it has to have some kind of female employees so they're comfortable, it has to have the type of product that speaks to them in a certain way that they want to come back and back and back.
The engine is starting up. 3, 2, 1.
The other one, No Organized Chaos.
Actual fandom?
I vaguely know who actual fandom is.
You clearly don't know who you're talking to, so be clear.
Hi. Fucking subscribe.
I am David.
Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hello, hello, hello. Hello and welcome. There you see some information for how you can contact me on the screen. But wait, this is the best part. Hold on. You got to watch this part.
Holy shit! Holy shit! Fuck!
You're goddamn right. You're goddamn right. Anyway, I have fun. I do. I really do. It's fun for me to make funny, stupid things in edits. It's funny to make fun of myself and put stupid faces of mine on things. But never as funny as putting just like regular faces of people like like their normal face of a heel versus baby face. And believe it or not, that was actually him. That was he was able to film that for me for this segment. And I appreciate, shout out to him for that. He's not doing so hot these days with his view numbers and everything. So, I passed him $8 and he did that for me. He spent like all day filming that, and really shout out, like, props, man. Like, that's good work ethic. I appreciate that. He said he needed to buy some cat food for himself. He doesn't have a cat. He's just like really, really hungry. Anyway. So, yeah, thank you for being here. We're going to be talking about some stuff tonight. We're going to talk about some things and some shit, including, well, the protocols. And I actually have the author of the protocols here with us today, Morgan.
Whoa, fuck, dude, no. Damn. Oh no.
I'm sorry. I'm working on I'm working on most awkward intros for you.
Oh, you won. Congratulations. You done it. I'm so not proud of you. Oh.
No, I mean, I didn't say, hey, hold on. I didn't say what protocols. I said, I was going to say the protocols of being awesome.
Oh,
okay?
Well, okay. Well,
you did write those, you may not realize it, but you wrote them on my heart.
Aw. I can't stay mad at you, Dane.
Nah, Morgan has nothing to do with this shit, except for, being here tonight. So, yeah, we're gonna talk about the protocols of the learned elders of Zion, or the more truncated version is, I think it's more commonly said is protocols of Zion, right? Is that what it is?
I think I've heard it most as the protocols of the elders of Zion, but like there's so many, rehashed, it just
true. Well, you know what? And we did this totally on purpose. No, we didn't. But it fits into the algorithm with what's going on right now. You got H Bomber guy, of course. Everybody's seen that video.
It seems like literally video.
I mean, fucking insane numbers on that video. But then you've also got Philosophy Tube, I saw earlier today, has a video on plagiarism.
Yeah.
And then and also Todd in the Shadows, of all people. I mean, love that guy, but like wasn't expecting a video on
it's sort of outside his normal area of coverage, but like dude dug in.
Yeah, he did a whole James Somerton debunk thing. Gordy, nobody wants to hear you, unless they do. I don't know, but
I want to hear Gordy.
And I can't help but think that they just ripped off my idea. They're doing the algorithm thing. They're doing the initiative thing.
Sure.
Like, wow, man.
Likely story.
No, I mean, it does seem like they are doing this intentionally to coordinate, and that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I believe they coordinated those videos. Well, I think in Shadow's video, he said that he had talked to H-Bomb beforehand.
Yes. And he kind of he downplayed it, and I'm not saying he's lying or anything, but like they downplayed the idea that they were like, yeah, let's do them on at the same time kind of thing. But like they knew they were doing them kind of at the same time.
They came independently to the mission, but they both knew what each other was up to on some level.
And then just to see Philosophy Tube with one too on plagiarism, right? Like, okay, I see. Yeah, well, you guys doing it. Good job.
Her and H-Bomb are friends. Like in real life, I believe. So that doesn't surprise me at all.
Well, yeah, they live on this like the same turf island and stuff.
The same turf island, yeah.
They're part of that little group of non-turfs over there.
Yeah, we call those the good ones.
The good ones. Yeah, yeah. So that makes sense. And honestly, I hope it does well for them all, and I hope they continue to do that. Because it's exactly what's needed. I've been saying that since about beginning of 2020. I'll be honest. That lefties needed to coordinate content because by God, that's what the right does.
It really is.
Of course, it's kind of a different thing whenever you're talking about video essayists who put out a video every like 7 years.
I think H-Bomb gets one out a year-ish. Usually.
Yeah. Okay. No, but
she puts them out a little more regularly, but she's got like a whole like crazy production with staff and all sorts of wild shit.
Does she have a staff? Because
I think so.
Because I remember being surprised that excuse me if my voice goes out a little bit. I remember being surprised that ContraPoints doesn't use like a staff. Like in a video or something I saw where she was like, "No, I just do it all myself." I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, how do you? I mean, I guess that explains why there's only one like a year or 6 months or whatever. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Like, I think she works with other people. I don't know if it's like what level of staffing it is, but I think she's got some sort of like collaborators in person that help with some of that, but I don't know the exact specifics.
What is the Roblox oof one? I don't know what that means.
So that one there was a sound so Roblox is a game where people can make content for it. I don't know anything about it beyond that. But someone put a sound in that game that is from another game that a man by the name of Tommy Tallarico kind of took credit for from somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And H-Bomb dug in on like that guy, and it turns out he's kind of a scumbag.
Oh.
It's an interesting video, but it's
interesting.
Yeah, it's like a lot of inside video game baseball, but it was interesting.
You know what I forgot to do? Holy crap, what's wrong with me?
Oh yeah, that's right. He faked a bunch of like Guinness Book of World Record awards.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because his dick is small or something. I don't know.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, that's shit. Okay, I'll take it.
I have no idea why. I just like thought that was the thing to do, I guess.
Well, so I forgot to do something here, and I feel like we're getting off on the wrong foot unless I just unless I do this real quick.
We'll do it real quick.
Quicker,
faster.
I had it. Where's it at? Okay, here it is.
Forced adversity.
We got to get that in. Yeah. Good point.
All right. My bad. I apologize.
I will forgive you this once, but it will go on your permanent record.
Yep. I mean, it's definitely going to go on the internal permanent record, as does every mistake I've ever made. Now you got to learn to let some shit go. You know.
Yes, you do.
You do. Otherwise, it gets kind of crowded in there. Things get.
Yep. If you don't let things go, and if you like constantly beat yourself up, my spouse will show up behind you with a Nerf gun and unload on you, as is their divine mission.
That's very specific, but okay. I will take that advice. So before we got into the not fun part, but the necessary part, because
and I think on top of some of the other stuff in the algorithm as of late, I have unfortunately in the wild seen mention of the protocols in relation to what's going on in Palestine right now.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't know if this is what it is, but like I just found out that apparently the protocols are part of Hamas's doctrine.
I believe that if it's not the case, I would be surprised.
No, I mean it just is the case. There's like if the only people that are more anti-Semitic than white nationalists over here and elsewhere in the white world are certain Islamic groups.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of Muslim fans of like Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro went kind of gonzo on them because of their support for Israel.
What would you expect Ben Shapiro to do?
I don't know. I'm just like, why are you surprised by this? Like, have you not been? What were you napping?
Have you not seen like literally every time you see him, he's got the little hat on and stuff, and like
right? Like, what were you thinking? He was I guess he's the good one, right? And then he's not all of a sudden.
It's like, we just thought he was wearing the hat to kind of blend in or something, but no, he means it.
Yeah, like they actually invented a nickname for Ben Shapiro.
What's that?
Benocide Shapiro.
That's I mean, look, it writes itself, but also
I'm not even mad. I'm just like,
I want to add context to the little offhand comment I made. But that implies that anybody who is like is Jewish and outwardly expresses their Jewishness is also just like fully behind Israel, and that's not fucking true.
That's not true.
So,
no,
I'm not saying that.
There are actually it's a big problem here in the States where there's a lot of Jewish groups that are helping Palestinian protest efforts because they are against what the Israeli government is doing over there in the name of Judaism. And
it's gross. I just saw a clip of a Netanyahu like angrily scolding the international world for not supporting him enough, basically not sending enough money right now. He's like,
well, yeah, I mean, yeah, because he needs more money. He's like redone the courts there to get him out of several financial schemes that he was involved in.
And it's just like, man, maybe The reason that they don't want to support you is because you're being a little too aggro right now, and then you're going to come out here and be aggro at them. Like, nah.
No, dude. Yeah, like I personally think, and I have before this, that we're too involved in Israel's politics and Israel's government as it is.
And this isn't really like a specifically political show, but then there's also the Biden angle. He's doing some stuff, and
he's doing stuff.
God damn it, man.
Yep.
Not happy about it, but
no, I'm not. I'm really not either.
I'm also not happy about the people who just take any opportunity like that to go, well, guess I'm not going to be voting for him in November. And it's like, okay, man.
All right, that's you're entitled to be an asshole. Sure, fine, whatever.
Well, it's like I said it on Twitter. It's like, look, man, you okay? So you've made it clear that because you don't like Biden because he's still supporting Israel and shit, like, which I'm not cool with either. But like, what you're saying is that you are going to withhold your Trump voter neutralizing vote,
right?
In order to just like make a statement, make a point or whatever, and then so in effect, you were saying, you know what, Project 2025, fuck
that's
it, let's
fine.
see what happens.
Yeah, like the stuff coming out of the GOP that they want to do if they win the presidency, and it's not like, okay, so like Trump isn't going to be any better on Israel and Palestine than Biden is. Sorry, that's just like true.
No. Yeah, I mean he's yeah, it's ridiculous. Like
he's going to be best case scenario as bad.
Well, see, but the thing is they don't
worse.
I don't know, man. I don't get it. It's like they don't care that there's a consequence, or they don't think that they're like they've just made peace with it. Like, oh yeah, I know that's the consequence, but like, and I'm not going to name any names here, but it's people that I actually otherwise generally respect.
It's some people I respect that are saying it. I'm like, oh god. And I get like there is an argument that like it is December 2023. The election is 10 months from now, effectively. Like threatening not to vote now is a form of pressure, even if they are going to turn around and vote for him later.
Which, to be fair, yeah, go ahead.
Like, I get it. I see where they're coming from. How about what you do? The person you should be reaching out to actually is not like Twitter, not Facebook or, Instagram or whatever social media you're on. What you should do is you should write your congressperson. You should write your senator. That gets more done in this country than people realize, because the president he's not going to fucking see it. Maybe one of his people, his analysts on his election will see it, but like the person you can direct your attention to is your local representatives, and let them know, and tell people in your area to let them know. Yes, there are like form emails you can find out there for this stuff, and all you're just trade it around to your friends and pop it out, and then you can let your voice be heard that way, and that is way more effective to let the Democrats know that you're upset with how they're handling Israel right now, and you should be, than tweeting about Biden.
So let me tell you about what happened with me in 2020 whenever this stuff started happening. Because I had just kind of like in very recent months been kind of like drawn into the online left just by virtue of like my content that I started making, and people going, hey, I'm like, oh, okay, this is what kind of content that is, I guess. And then, and I'm like starting to learn all these different stripes of lefty, from anarchism. I'm starting to figure this stuff out, and like, and then, so, and I really hadn't like, I still don't see any reason to like, just like, I am a this-thisist or anything, like I don't see how there's really any practical reason for that. But, so anyway, but then suddenly I started seeing people that otherwise I thought were pretty cool or interesting or smart or doing the right thing or whatever. And then suddenly they're just like saying that they're, once Bernie lost the primary, or, was kind of robbed of the primary, they're not going to vote for Biden. And I'm like, wait a second. Well, you know what the option is, right? Like, how do you How do you
like?
And it really actually got me really upset. Like, along with everything else that was going on, that kind of all contributed to me going into a pretty fucking severe depression that year. And it's like, because I just suddenly was like, I thought I understood these people and I don't, you know what I mean? And I was like, felt really alienated. And I started talking a lot of shit on Twitter about these people, you know, and I'm like, you know, just talking mad shit, like unhealthy amounts of coping with my feelings about this shit. And then a couple of people, 2 people in particular, you know, literally told me privately that, no, I'm going to vote for him. You know what I mean? I'm going to vote for Biden. But like, just publicly, you know, I'm doing this. And it's like, okay, man.
That's not cool. You get that's bad. That's bad, right? Like, I'm sorry.
Well, and for exactly the reason that, where'd it go? That Lucifer said here. Trickles down to people who don't know. Especially, you know, at least one of these people, and one of the ones that I'm thinking about nowadays, has a public platform, has people that look up to them and listens to their word. And I feel like with that comes a responsibility to be honest, you know, in particular, like on something this consequential, and not just try to like play, you know, optical games with people. And
I don't know. Like, okay, so you look at what, like, I'm going to use Florida for as an example, because it's being talked about in chat. Like, the electorate in Florida, it wasn't all that long ago that they passed a voter reform amendment to their, or it was either amendment to their constitution or a publicly voted on referendum. Julia, if you know more, maybe you can help me out. And then the government went and stripped that back out because it was popular among the people, but people don't vote for in their local elections. They just see the big ticket things and they don't understand all of the logistics that go behind that. And if you want to be an informed citizen, you have to understand how the sausage gets made. And our education system is fucking shit at teaching you that. And you need to go out and learn it anyways. And see how legislation happens in this country, how lawmaking happens in this country, and know what the best way to influence it is. Because if you don't, it doesn't matter who you say you're going to vote for the president, because that's one guy in one branch of one level of government. That's not your local leaders. The president isn't removing books from your public library or from your public schools. That's your local school board.
Yep.
Your state government there's probably Republican legislatures that have or will, or both, propose anti-trans legislation or increase crime legislation or decrease funding for social benefits. That all happens locally. The president, fuck that guy. Who cares? But you can see who's going to vote to hurt you locally and vote to help you locally. And instead of voting down ballot, vote up ballot. Start local, work your way up the ballot. I'll get off my soapbox now.
No, it's good. It's a good box. So, I mean, speaking of the school board thing, right? So there are reasons to not be completely doomer, right?
Yeah.
If you look at midterm elections,
I'm not a doomer.
The bad folks with the bad ideas didn't do so hot. A lot of the bad ideas didn't happen, didn't get implemented. A lot of the bad people either got removed, didn't get in, so on. And then there's the folks specifically nationally responsible for, I guess, probably almost all of these coordinated efforts against schools. Moms for Liberty. They aren't doing so hot publicly right now.
That's the other thing, is that like all of these Republican groups just are actually run by the worst people. And the only silver lining to them becoming so publicly known is that all their dirty laundry is spilling out all over the fucking sidewalk.
Well, because these people are fucking ghouls, man. They're not like people that they're not concerned about children. You know, they're not concerned about, you know.
Well, you know, they are concerned about children. They want them to work younger and younger. They want to undo child labor protections. I forget which chicken company just had the feds go after them for violating federal child labor laws because the state was let it slide. They do care about children. They care about abusing them.
Yep. 100%. Oh shit.
100% of those groups are astroturfed. 100%. Not one of them.
That's the thing. That's the only, like, you have to consider that, because like as much noise as they make, and then they can't fucking win elections. And the only way that they get they get the attention is by making noise, not by like, proving that their ideas have merit or anything like that.
No, they do exactly what we talk about on the show. They drum up moral panics.
Yep, it really is, like, honestly, yeah, we gotta cover them at some point, because like this is now, we are seeing it play out right now.
Next year, I am doing a Heritage Foundation episode that is happening.
Almost like the final form, hopefully, but probably not, of moral panic, where it's like, if you think about what we've covered so far, we've talked about, there's the kind of like, I guess, the most organic type of moral panic you can have, to a degree, which is just somebody hearing something and thinking something silly, and then telling somebody else, and they panic and they run with it, and it becomes a thing, right? Or tragically, like a mother who's loses her child or something like that, and takes the wrong lesson from it, right? And blames the wrong things for it,
right?
And that sucks and everything, but like then it becomes a whole thing that affects other people and whatnot. But then you get to the what was it, the 80s? Was it with the music thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, where they had the dog and pony show with the PMRC,
and it was all a dog and pony show because they'd already come to an agreement.
Yep. And then they invited these musicians, hey, come speak in defense of or whatever, speak on behalf of the music industry, and it's like, but the label had already been decided. It was already going to happen regardless of what happened at that hearing, and nobody knew that except for probably the people that were putting on the hearing,
right?
So there's that cynical edge that is put into it by the political elites, kind of thing. Like, well, not even political elites, their wives, and then after that, what was it, the video game thing with Lieberman and shit?
Lieberman and Herb Cole from Wisconsin. There's our show villain.
Literally, what was the reason that they did that again? It was really fucking cynical.
What was the cynical reason? Gods.
They were trying to. They just needed a cause, basically, or something like that.
Yeah, they were just trying to build their brand.
Yeah, it's not even like, because you had like Mortal Kombat and then Night House.
Yeah, Night Trap, Mortal
Trap,
Kombat, just like
random ass shit, and that's become a whole thing with the ESRB and whatnot. And it's like now you're seeing it to where it's ultimate cynical form. Hopefully it's the ultimate form. Probably not, man. That's scary to think about. But like, it is supremely cynical now, where it's like, we're moms for liberty, and we care about children. Meanwhile, they've got somebody working for them that's fucking a registered sex offender and shit against children.
Speaking about the video game things, the ESRB hearings, we're on like another GTA panic, and like all of those like 2016 right-wing edgelords that were like, they're taking the sex and violence out of video games, are all now fucking bent in a tizzy because there's sex and violence in a GTA game. And like, full disclosure, I don't fucking like GTA. I think they're boring. They're just not they're not my kind of game. But like, what did you expect? It's a GTA game, you fucking weirdos.
Yeah, that Dextero account that was like, they committed 26 crimes in this trailer. It's like, you mean the crime game?
So yeah, there's crimes in the crime game. Whoa.
Jesus, man. It's they're going pretty hard at it. And I mean, I guess the silver lining to a degree is that I think a good amount of people are seeing it for what it is.
I think so. I think even a lot of conservatives, a lot of like small town conservatives, they see, at least like on their state level, maybe not locally per se, because people just aren't that tuned in, sadly, that like, okay, so if I am a rural small business owner, I own a farm or a body shop or whatever, a gas station, who knows, a restaurant. What are my representatives I voted for is a small town pro-business conservative. What are they doing for me? Let me check the newspaper. They're voting on this trans shit. What are they doing the next week? Voting on this trans shit. What are they doing? Blocking school funding. What? But it's for a business school. They want to expand the University of Wisconsin's business education. Oh, wasn't that good for our economy? Everyone's supposed to be for the economy. We're pro-economy conservatives, business conservatives. What
reason do you feel optimistic for, Tara Story?
I tell you why I feel optimistic is that, like, I think people are on to that it's a fucking scam.
Well, I mean, in case the Tara Story was saying that about us or something, like, because I came in at a certain time, like, I don't feel either way. I'm honestly unsure what to feel right now because I just am not allowing myself to land on anything at this point.
Yeah, I get not being optimistic. I am optimistic but afraid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you gotta be I'm just trying to stay sober about it all, right? Like, because
right. Like, I have at the end of the day, I have to believe we can win because for a lot of us, it's life or death.
True.
Whether it's because you're on, Social Security because you're old or you're disabled, they want to get rid of that. If you're on, Medicare, they've wanted to get rid of that for decades.
Well, look, I'll say this. The if it was just strictly down to one person, one vote, no impediments to voting or anything like that,
it doesn't matter. Biden would win.
We would win fucking hands down, like everything. It would be fucking, they'd be done. But
Republicans have won one popular vote presidentially in the 21st century, which was Bush's second term. That's it.
I mean, like, I recognize that as a possibility. I'd like to know why you think that's going to happen. Like, that's what is at stake for sure. But what we're sitting here trying to. So what I'm saying is that, like, there are plenty of things that I've seen pop up. Like, for instance, fucking Taylor Swift got more people to fucking young people to register to vote in a day than ever before, and it's like, holy shit, maybe Taylor Swift.
They're mad at that. Like, you see who got mad about that, right? That should tell you everything you need to know about who the bad guys are.
And
they don't want democracy. They don't want representative government. They want to rubber stamp their oligarchs.
Well, there was that fucking Rick Santorum. He's still apparently around saying things that people listen to. You remember whenever they changed? Remember whenever they when I think it was what's his name, Dan Savage?
Yep.
Fucking changed.
Yeah, if you don't know, throw Santorum into the Urban Dictionary and see what comes up.
Yeah, and see what kind of frothy mix comes up. And so anyway, it's he said something like, oh well, I don't remember what he said after the elections and stuff, the voting, but he was like, he essentially just said, this is why. I don't know, something about like why voting's bad or something, essentially. Like, it's just fucking ridiculous. He was trying to cope and he came out a little too mask off. Anyway, yeah, so there's a general sense of apathy, but like, there's also, you got to think about this. The news and social media is not incentivized to show you people that are working hard in favor of the things that you want. They're not incentivized to show people signing up people to vote. They're not incentivized to, only whenever it involves somebody like Taylor Swift doing it do they go, oh, we got to talk about it because it's Taylor Swift. You know what I mean? But like, they are going to show you all of the fucking dark shit because that is just what society has become. It's what media has become.
And that's not new, even in some ways. It's not a new saying in especially in corporate journalism.
If it bleeds, it leads.
Yep.
So, I'm not saying that I'm not trying to convince you of anything, except to maybe consider the things that you're not considering is all, and to try and keep don't get all depressed and stuff. Save that for the moment, then whenever things are certainly bad, and then you can get depressed. But anyway, there's a lot of garbage. Look, for another thing, the Chudpocalypse. I have seen like more pushback against these chuds and anti-fandom shit than I've seen in 4+ years doing this. I'm seeing it so much. I'm seeing, new channels are popping up that I haven't seen before. When it seemed like there weren't any, I'm trying to get a hold of these people left and right now. And
yeah, that's good. It's funny. I see Tara mentioning Godzilla in chat, like, because now all these chuds care about Godzilla all of a sudden. There's a lot of people in like that fandom who are like, you don't fucking care about Godzilla. Have you ever talked about it before? We don't know who the fuck you are. Like, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, it's the same people who they're just the biggest Snow White fans.
The largest Snow White fans. Yeah, it's just.
Yeah. So freaking. All right, we're gonna talk about some Batman. How about that?
Let's talk some Batman. No.
Got to give me a minute to pull up my Batman because there's this writer, right? We're switching gears here, folks.
Switching gears. We're gonna talk about the Bat.
There's this writer. He's an up and comer. I mean, he's coming up. I don't know how much he's coming. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know what that's about. I'm kind of out of it today, folks. I might be getting sick. I think I am getting sick. But his name is Chip. And he's not even scared of spiders. Never been scared of spiders.
Okay.
You could throw a rubber spider on him and be like, I don't care. No, that's like if you look at Chip Zdarsky, man, he's fucking hilarious. If you ever look at his bio, like on Amazon or whatever, like I think on his social media too, it just says like, straight up, I've never been scared of spiders. He's like,
you have to say that. I feel like there's a story there, but I don't know. I
feel like it's the vibes I get from that dude is that he's just very like random and like,
sure,
this thought means nothing, but it's hilarious to me, so I'm gonna say it.
I can respect that.
So let me pull up my thing here. So he wrote some Batman. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know.
Well, he wrote some Spider-Man for a while, and that was cool and everything. He's written quite a few things that are very, very good.
It's always nice. I like good writing.
Have you read any of his stuff?
No, I have not.
Not
that I would recognize by like the name of the writer. No.
Okay. He's very good. And so, oh god damn it! Hold on, give me a minute. If you want to talk about something, I got to deal with Gordy. I'm sorry.
Oh no, we got a cat attack.
Be right back.
All right. So Batman. What are people's favorite Batman runs or movies or stories? Like, I'm not gonna lie, there's plenty of good Batman runs, but like every time I read Batman, I hear the animated series Batman in my head. It's too iconic. It's just seared in there. Yeah, I agree. Batman has been. It sucks because like I think there's a lot of good Batman comics and Batman stories, but like there's a reason that like DC wanted to shove him into everything. He's just that popular, and it kind of fucking sucks.
And it is. And like, look, I am fully aware of the overexposure. Oh shit! I'm just gonna say that you'd pronounce it chariot.
I think so. We're gonna call that chariot.
Because trying to say Chifor is not.
It's the leet speak.
Oh, okay. But hey, how's it going? Welcome. Chariot made a video like watching my video, and I think it might be the only video that anybody's ever made about me that was just like all just like just supportive and positive and stuff. And there's been quite a few videos made about me, so
yeah.
That was it was a surreal experience to see that. But thank you. And it actually did, the thing you said at the end when you were like, I think you should reach out to people about getting on their channels or them on mine or whatever. Yeah, I've been trying to do that. So I appreciate that actually did get through to me.
Aw, that's sweet.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
What was I doing? Oh yeah, so Batman. Yeah, there's overexposure. At the same time, I will say that like from Tom King on to I don't remember the order exactly now, but Williamson and then Tynion the Fourth, and just like this run of Batman in the last few years has been pretty great. I'm sorry, it just has. And like
that's fair.
That's aside from the overexposure. I have just learned to not allow myself to be I don't consume many DC comics because of the fact that most of them are Bat-centric these days.
It really, yeah. I mean, it comes and goes, right? Like, I feel like there is a tendency to go like, we're going to push out a bunch of new books. We overextend. We need to like retract down to the core stuff. And by the core stuff, we mean the Batman.
Right.
And so like, I think that's why we've had so many like Dark Knights spin-offs and sequels and tie-ins, and like that just like that was a cute story the first time, and then after that, I don't know, for me it was like, I don't ever want to see this again.
Well, so okay, somebody, I think it was Artie, was like, fail safe, woo. Yes, fail safe, woo. Exactly. This is a Batman story that it does have fresh energy, I'll say that, even compared to, like I said, the previous ones of the last few years. I've liked their stuff, but it's been kind of like a similar tone, each one of them. They bridge each other's the gap between each other very, very well. Like there's not any kind of jarring like shift where you're like, oh
right.
God. But they're all very, very competent. This was not jarring, but it was definitely a noticeable kind of voice being introduced to Batman with Chip Zdarsky. So failsafe, just to give a quick rundown, failsafe refers to this robot that Batman built, but he doesn't know that he built, because when he built it, he was the Batman of Zur and
Oh boy.
And why did he build this? Well, because
occasionally Batman needs a plan to beat up Batman.
Well, yeah, it did a flashback to Babel.
Nice.
And Superman's like, comes talk to him after that's all over, and he's like, dude, that's really messed up. You knew how to take us all out. What about you? What happens if you? And Batman kind of makes some comment, kind of like, yeah, I got that taken care of or something. And well, what it is failsafe. It's this robot that's built with using like Kryptonian technology, and like it's trained to just kill Batman. Like,
oh God.
And it in the event that Batman ever goes too far and does the thing Batman's not supposed to do. Well, in the beginning of this whole run, he seemingly kills Penguin. Penguin dies.
Oh fuck.
Seemingly. And it seems like Batman did it. And failsafe activates. And the first several issues of this thing are just like a fucking action movie of like Batman getting the shit kicked out of him across Gotham, and then like then the Robins and everybody, they show up and they're getting the shit kicked out of them, but like it won't kill them, but it's gonna kill Batman. So this all like protect Batman's life at this point.
Right.
And like within the first 2 issues, he's just like barely able to stand, and he's he's bleeding out and stuff, and like then the Justice League shows up, but for whatever reason, failsafe knows how to take care of them too. And it's just this fucking relentless Terminator type situation. It's like, holy shit, it's exciting. It's fucking like, I've never seen Batman in this kind of vulnerable, like constantly vulnerable situation from the start. You know what I mean? Like there's not any.
It's been a minute.
And there are moments of him like doing a Batman, so to speak,
right.
where he's like, oh, this impossible situation, he figures it out. But it's always like the very last minute, like he pulls out a thing out of his ass and he barely lives. And I remember when it was coming out that there was a big, uproar about him falling from the moon and living. And I was like, that sounds pretty stupid. Look, I'll be honest,
that's a bit out there.
People were saying that, look, this is just taking Batman's whole thing too far where he can do anything or whatever. And it's like, yeah, it sounds kind of ridiculous, but look, in context,
it makes sense.
It makes as much sense as him having a piece of his psyche carved out into a character named Batman of Zur and R that's gonna, like
right.
the psychological science and then like the planetary science, they're about the equal in level of absurdity there. He also, his like costume is made out of like, this heat resistant or, thing, and he just has a cover of his mouth basically. And then he somehow lives with some special moves or whatever, but
special bat moves
eventually. So he lands and then he goes to the Fortress of Solitude. He's trying to get some Kryptonian shit, get some weapons and stuff that Superman's got there to try and take this thing out, because he's like impossible to take out.
Right.
He's Batman proof even.
Well, that's the point, right?
Yep. And then Tim Drake shows up, and that's one great thing about this whole run is that Tim Drake is like front and center for a lot of it, And I
nice.
guess just
He's sort of been in the background for a while too.
yeah, I guess Zdarsky just is a Tim Drake fan. Hey, me too.
Respect, yeah.
So like he's the main secondary character that goes on through there. And he shows up and he's at the Fortress 2. Batman shows up. Look, Failsafe is on his ass like the whole time.
Right.
First, the reason he ends up on the moon is because he goes to, up into the watchtower.
Sure. And then Failsafe comes after him.
Immediately, like he's like, I probably got half an hour before he finishes that sentence, Failsafe is there. It's like, oh shit. So yeah, then of course he blows up the watchtower, basically trying to kill Failsafe. Doesn't work.
Right.
So he what he ultimately decides is like, and he's inspired by Tim Drake from this. He's like, okay, look, this thing is designed to kill Batman, but what about Batman and Robin, right?
Right.
And
That's
him and
cool.
Robin, there's a really cool scene where him and Robin are kind of kicking its ass for a minute, and he kind of takes inspiration from Tim Drake, and he's like, what could I give? I could do something that would basically change its program or whatever. He's like, oh, compassion. He's inspired by Tim Drake. Compassion, right? So he literally does some kind of virus thing, and he gets it in there and programs some compassion into Failsafe.
Oh no.
But it doesn't seem to work because Failsafe grabs some kind of crazy ass gun from the fortress and kills Batman seemingly.
Fuck me, I guess. All right.
He just like shoots him, and he's just like
That's how I handle Batman. Is just just the old
just shoot him.
Yeah, just fucking shoot him.
Shoots him, and he just like explodes into dust or whatever, and right in front of Tim, and he's like, "What the fuck? Okay, that sucks." But he's not dead. He got what had happened was the compassion thing worked. And so rather than kill him, Failsafe decided at the last minute, I'm going to send him to another universe where there's no Batman in Gotham. So that he, and so it's the rest of the arc takes place. It's in this other, Gotham, another part of the multiverse.
Sure.
Things are all topsy-turvy and weird and stuff. And
sure.
Nonetheless, he eventually gets his bearings and he decides he's going to be the Batman there.
Yeah.
And then he's the Batman and stuff. And then, so the bad guy, I won't spoil too much in case somebody wants to read it because there are some cool surprises, but he's chasing the bad guy and ends up, I guess I kind of do have to spoil this part technically.
Sure.
So the bad guy ends up he's called the Red Mask, if that doesn't give it away.
Yeah.
There's no Joker in, you know what I mean? In this world, but there is the Red Mask, and he's a guy named something Darwin Halliday or something. And you can tell it's the Joker, but he's not Joker-fied.
Right.
He's just some dude. And he turns out he has been peering through the multiverse and seeing all of his alternates that are the Joker.
Oh fuck.
And he wants to be that so bad, but he can't. He doesn't know how to be that. Right.
Oh, shit.
And so he's been like drawing all this multiverse power or something like that, and he's been living vicariously through different Jokers.
Dude.
It's crazy. But so they're at the end there, seemingly the end. For one thing, Batman loses his hand in this. Like,
shit.
Canonically, Batman lost his right hand. Like, it's fucking crazy. I was not expecting that. Let's see. It's a wonderful bat. Yeah.
It was just on TV. I mean, it's that time of year where It's a Wonderful Life is on all the time. So yeah.
Gotham War's not great.
That's what I've heard.
Who's writing Gotham War?
I don't know. I've heard someone complain about it. I don't know. I can't.
It doesn't sound like a very Zdarsky kind of story.
Let's look it up.
I mean, look,
when we can know.
In the last couple of years, you've had the War of Jokes and Riddles. You've had the Riddler War or whatever the fuck. Like they're doing a lot of those lately. It seems like.
Yeah. They hit on a theme and they're kind of stuck on it.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, it is. Well, it's a bunch of writers.
Main
writers are Chip Zdarsky and Teenie Howard.
Oh, Teenie Howard's on it? Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
But it has not, like everything I've heard about it from people has been less than ideal. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, because that is maybe the first time in a while that there's been multiple writers on the book, so that might be why. Is like,
yeah.
I know Larry, right? It's fucking awesome. We are blessed. Yeah, everybody, if you're not subscribed to Chariot, you should be.
I am not. I will have to address that.
They're great.
They seem like it.
You can just kind of like look over the topics they cover on the channel, and it's a pretty broad range of cool shit. Video games, you know, political things, culture war. This culture war that's so serious and necessary and stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna hit the old subscribe button, add it to the list. They seem pretty rad.
All right, so here you got the red mask here, and he's looking through right here at the different some different Jokers, and then you find out that like he's actually the catalyst that creates these Jokers. Apparently, he's that makes them go mad. Because yeah, so I don't know, it's kind of wacky, and like I don't know if that's going to stay canon or what the deal is, but so the joke on him is that he is creating all of these Jokers, contributing to creating them all, but he still can't be the Joker himself, which is kind of funny.
That is a joke the Joker would play on someone who wants to be the Joker, though.
Right? Yeah.
That seems very appropriate.
Well, look, Screwface Capone, how about you just wait here just a minute and we'll see what happens, because so at a certain point here, this guy, he decides he's gonna just jump through the freaking time portal thing, the multiverse portal, and he's hopping multiverse. He's going to different universes, but Batman is tethered to him, so Batman starts just like against his will. He's following him through all these different universes.
Nice.
After here in a minute, as you can see here, he's missing a hand right here. He's right
like
handless.
Bat claw.
And so he, the first place he lands. Well, okay.
It looks like the Jack Nicholson Batman 89.
Yeah, because it is.
There he is. Fuck.
Because yeah, what happens here at the end, I was not fucking prepared for. And like, look, the only thing against it is that we've already seen it with Spider-Man's. But like, if not for that, I mean, I was still like kind of going nuts reading this shit.
Sure.
Because then he goes through, he hits all the hits.
Right. You play all the hits.
There's what is that? The by Gaslight one, or is the vampire one? Was that what that
Gotham
was?
by no, is there a vampire? I have not read Gotham by Gaslight, but it might be one of the like vampire Joker stories.
Then you got I'm not sure. I think that's actually Gaslight, maybe. And then here's
the old Justice League cartoon.
And then here's
the animated series.
Yep. Then you got to here's Injustice. That's what that looks like.
Yep, that's the Injustice Batman.
No, I'm sorry. That's the Arkham games Batman. That's what that is. Yeah, because he gets to the Injustice ones here in a minute. So that's
okay.
And he talks to them, each one of them, for different amounts of time, and then he gets to freaking Batman Beyond.
Nice.
And he's just talking to them for a minute and shit. And I was like, man, this is just what a fun ending to this crazy ass.
Oh yeah,
I was
for
not
sure.
expecting it. It makes sense, like, and then look, here's Kingdom Come.
Yep.
There's I'm not sure what that one is.
Another old school Batman art style.
And then here's there's Injustice, I believe.
Okay.
Because I don't like that freaking mask.
That is not a good mask, no.
And then
Adam West, they're nice.
And this is what sets up the moment when I was like, "You're fucking kidding me!" Here in a minute, and you'll feel the same way.
This is the moment we're doing this segment on this show, huh?
Yeah, this is why I was like, "All right, I gotta talk about this."
I'll brace myself.
So,
my body's ready.
He's kind of fashioned a bat suit in this, in where he was at, out of just like random shit. So he doesn't have a utility belt. So Adam West Batman is like, "Hey man, you need a utility belt, chum."
Fuck yeah.
Gives him his utility belt and shit, and then he goes through a couple more. Here's Dark Knight Returns.
Yep.
The art, all of the art is fucking spot on too.
A lot of it's really, really close.
He talks to him there for a minute and everything, and then he finally catches up with him here at this little like end of the multiverse kind of thing.
And there's the Joker shark.
There's Joker fish are now Joker sharks. Yep. And
let's go.
He's gonna. Do you see where this is going? Or
I know where this is going. As soon as Adam West gave him the utility belt, I knew where this was going.
This is why Chip Zdarsky is a fucking madman, and I love him because he's he's trying to fight off one of these things, these Joker sharks, and he's like, oh, now I'm going right into the maw of this thing. What can I do? What do I got in this belt here?
There it is.
Bat shark repellent.
The bat shark repellent.
It's like a Batman more prepared than I am.
Well, just remember that in that movie, the shark he repels is actually a robot bomb. It's not actually a shark, and it still works because Batman.
Because Batman. Yeah. It looks like a shark, and that's all that matters.
It's all that matters.
Not only is it just a good deep cut, but it's like it's written into the story, and it, like literally it is like basically the climax of this whole thing is that, and it doesn't come off completely fucking corny. Like it is because it's
so corny, but like it takes itself the right way.
Yes, it's also still cool at the same time. Like I don't understand how he did that, honestly. And then of course he gives him a good smack there.
Right, got to give him the brag.
And then that's how it ends. And then Robin, Tim Drake, he's sitting there. He's like, "Well, I'm fucked. I'm stuck here." Nope, Robin saved me.
Aww,
Tim Drake, and it's a beautiful thing. So,
aww, that's so sweet.
Really is. Look. Sometimes I just get so excited by a comic, I want to share it with people.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like. How I got back into comics was someone sharing with me the IDW Transformers comics, which I fucking love to death. Check out our Transformers episode.
Yeah, it's over on the is it on? No, it's on my channel.
Is it on your channel? On the FAP channel. Okay, all right. Yeah, check that out. I love that episode.
I think it's on both.
That's what got me back into comics after 5 or 6 years.
So, bad news about that.
Yeah.
Comixology is done.
Comixology, yeah.
It's I invited one of the creators on to come talk with us at some point, but I've been inviting lots of people left and right. I've just been like shamelessly like, "Hey, come on to my show. Come talk to me." So, yeah, I mean, look, Julia, if you were interested in reading Batman at all, I would say that starting with maybe not Tom King's run, because that one, different people go different ways on that one. I think it's mostly pretty good. But then who is after that, I forget who came next. It starts to get really good. But like Williamson and Tynion the Fourth, their runs very good, and Zdarsky as well. I'm also currently reading, because Zdarsky's also writing Batman the Knight, which is a completely different type of Batman story. And look, that's 2 Batman stories I'm reading right now, and I'm already feeling the fucking oversaturation. So 100%. Yeah. Zdarsky's me.
Well, and if he is writing Gotham more, it sounds like that one's supposed to be a little more grounded, and I think sometimes like not every writer who's good at doing the weird Batman stories is good at doing the grounded Batman stories. Like I think it just there's
and vice versa, yeah.
Right. There's so many different ways to tell a Batman story that like sometimes you're just gonna have a guy who's not good at that like street level criminal stuff, but is good at this like weird Batman fights a robot he designed himself and gets shunted through time to meet all of the Batmen.
Yep, and it's like it was completely unexpected, but also like it had been set up perfectly well. It wasn't like it just came out of nowhere. You're talking about a multiverse, and like I said, the only points against it to like the experience of it, like the only thing that could have heightened my experience was having not already seen Spider-Man doing the same thing, basically.
Sure.
Anyway, moving on.
We haven't had Into the Batverse before, and we've had a lot of like multiverse Spider-Man stuff, which I am kinda like. This is my hot take on that. I think the MCU, the last Spider-Man movie, I was kind of nope on that one. I didn't really care for it, but that's just
it was one of those things where it's like in the theater, and I've heard a lot of people say the same thing. In the theater, it was a great experience, and then you watch it again. I watched it again after, like at home, and I'm like, this is kind of just like, I don't know. There's a lot of. I'm not one typically to complain of fan service, but there's definitely some in there.
Yeah, and I think part of it is that like we've had like the first Tom Holland movie, was it Homecoming?
Mm-hmm.
Is a pretty like classic Spider-Man story in some ways. Like it's closer to classic Spider-Man stories we've had in the comics than the other MCU movies were. Like the second one with, you know, the like trying to get the AI that's in space that Tony Stark built with all the drones and the hologram projectors and all that crazy stuff. I'm like, this is kind of like a little over the top. But then like, okay, we're doing magic with alternate Spider-Men, and it felt like it was cashing in on Spider-Verse.
Well, it did, but at the same time, it was cashing in. Like, I mean, it made sense to me just because, you know, when growing up coming up in the '90s, reading '90s comics, there was often Spider-Man hanging out doing Doctor Strange plots and vice
Sure,
versa.
because they're both in New York.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, to me, that made sense to kind of like, well, let's throw him in the middle of this MCU. That's the one thing we really haven't been able to do with him at all.
Yeah,
that's what they've been taking. I think that the Tony Stark shadow has been a little too long over the whole thing, but I didn't mind the idea of Doctor Strange. But there were some character choices made with particularly Doctor Strange that I think were kind of silly.
Yeah, I didn't see that movie till it was out of theaters, and I was just like, when I finally got to watch it, I'm like, that was fine.
I think the moment that really kind of just reveals what I guess what I would say my issue, what I feel the issue with that movie is that whenever they find the other Spider-Man for the first time and they're opening the portals, and when they come through the portals, there's like a pause and there's no sound, there's nothing.
Yeah, it's the applause moment.
Exactly, and it's like, come on, man, you can't don't give us an applause break, Jesus.
Oh, okay, so you know I have a problem with applause breaks especially TV shows, but also movies, because like it's not a play. You're not in a theater with live actors where like that might make a little more sense. Like, you're in a theater. It like it's a screen. It's wherever you're watching it. It's on a screen. It don't matter.
There should be as much attempt to maintain like an immersive experience as possible, and like, but and sometimes these, you know, it just happens that like you're going to create a moment that's so good, but you have to kind of realize that it's going to get stepped on by an audience, right? Like the audience is going to, you know, Avengers Assemble kind of thing, or whatever, where it's like, oh shit, you know, before he said assemble, people were cheering in the theater.
Because everyone knew it was coming.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I barely heard him say it, but I know he said it, so that's cool.
Right.
You know, sometimes you just got to take that, and it seems like Sony was just like, no, we want to make sure that everybody has their moment to kind of take this in,
right? And it's just,
but on the other hand, there are the moments where they're just kind of sitting around talking, like, and I fucking loved it.
Those are the good moments in the movie. The rest was kind of just there.
Yeah.
All right, well, we should probably get onto the main topic.
Is it not Spider-Man?
I wish it was.
No,
we let chat decide.
Chat, are we talking Spider-Man? Are we talking the protocols of the learned elders of Zion? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we can let chat decide. Yeah. Well, chat, what do you want? You want Spider-Man? Do you want pictures of Spider-Man? Or do you want anti-Semitism?
Or are these protocols a menace? We got to pick one.
Right, we got to figure it out. We'll give the people what they want. I see chat. It's like real quiet now all of a sudden.
It's like they're joking, but I'm not sure how to joke back about this.
Right.
If ever a piece of writing could produce mass hatred, it is this one.
It is this one.
This book is about lies and slander. And that's from Elie Wiesel, Nobel Peace Prize laureate. So the Protocols of the Elders of Zion is the most notorious and widely distributed anti-Semitic publication of modern times. And just to, you know, pay tribute now to the current most popular fucking video that everybody, I am reading from the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum website, the Holocaust Encyclopedia. I'm also going to be reading from Wikipedia. You know, the classic.
The Wikipedia.
I'm also going to be reading from The Protocols.
We'll call out when that is.
Yeah, you're going to know because it's going to be pretty gross. It's stupid.
Yeah.
You know, it's equally it's harmful. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's fucking abhorrent, but it's also really fucking stupid. You know, like just reading through this stuff, I'm like, come on, man. Like people, I feel like the people that buy into this have not read this shit.
Oh no, they know it. It's the Bible, right? It's they know there's a book that tells them, but they're not going to go read it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I could do look, I used to have a Spider-Man mask. It's a pretty good one. I gave it to a kid who loves Spider-Man. Otherwise, I would just like wear that and read them on camera. But look, I have Deadpool. I don't know if that's appropriate. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay.
Okay.
You're like, is he serious right now?
I do not. I'm just like,
I'm sorry. It's awkward. I'm trying to avoid it.
It's a heavy topic. Yeah.
Doing avoidant behavior.
I don't blame you.
Give me a second. Drink some water here. In the meantime, let me pull up this here channel of our guest in chat. Oh, by the way, speaking of guests, we've got a really freaking cool one for the initiative this week.
Ooh, fun initiative guest.
And it is out of the box for us. As far as like it's nerd stuff, but it's nerd stuff that we don't normally, care for or watch or talk about or anything. So we've got Mr. TARDIS.
I'm gonna guess they're a Doctor Who fan.
Yeah, they're into that. He's into that. That Mr. Hoomst.
Mr. Hoomst Among Us.
I call it that because I'm an idiot. And
fair.
I've watched it. I've watched a couple episodes years ago, and it wasn't for me. There's like I could tell there was a lot to like, and that I wished that I could like it more.
Right. It's not for me. I think is what I learned about it when I tried to watch it. Inspector Spacetime.
That's the one.
Look at Chariot's channel. And their cute little duder.
We're only going to talk about the American version of Inspector Spacetime because that's the good one. Okay.
There's an American version.
No, there was a joke about it, like that there was a joke about it. It was actually Luke Perry was playing the inspector in that joke.
Oh my God. Isn't that just the Terminator? Hold on, back up. A time traveler with wacky hijinks and like time recursive stories. That's just Terminator. That's American Doctor Who. That's canon now.
What now?
I've declared Terminator American Doctor Who because it's a time travel story where like every time it goes back in time, it sort of recurs on itself.
Look, I don't know that you like The Last Jedi, but you certainly have covered it a lot in ways that aren't the ways that are often covered The Last Jedi on YouTube. So that's great.
We're big Last Jedi fans around here.
It is the superior one. Look, just like all kinds of stuff. And I really like this one, by the way. Ben Burgess is somebody that like I when I started getting into learning the lefty shit, he was somebody I really thought I was like, oh, this guy knows what's up. And then over time, just over time, it's like he's just got these takes that come out and they're like, oh, what are you doing, man? Supporting fucking, defending Anna Kasparian and shit, which is what that video is about. It's like,
there's a person who fell hard on her face very quickly.
I'm just gonna run with this right-wing talking point as if it is something that's real.
Steve Shives took a clip from his live show and put it on his main channel where he tore into that. Like someone asked that kind of Anna Kasparian, like trans people in sports question, and he fucking ripped the person who asked the question a new one. And it was very satisfying this morning.
Well, I will have to check that out for sure. Is it a long clip or
what? It's like 18 minutes. So yeah, kind of long.
All right. I was gonna.
I feel like it was long. I can check, but yeah,
Steve Shives is generally pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
I kind of want to get him on the show. he's somebody that like I remember when that's a whole other story. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah,
but
we have some bad things to talk about that we're still dodging.
We do.
Dodge to the left, dodge to the right, more to the left.
Much more to the left, please.
The Steve Shives things is 14 minutes, but yeah, we don't have to. We should put that off for later. Do a whole trans athlete panic episode because we probably need to do that too.
You know what? Actually, so I have to run to the restroom real quick, and while I do,
likely story.
I know.
Go ahead.
I just need to take a pause and take a pee. But I have a fucking excellent short video.
Okay.
To watch in the meantime.
Talk about representation in film. White people think that we're talking about it solely from the perspective of, I want to be able to see myself in these roles. I want my children to be able to look up to heroes in films and characters who look like them. But I actually think that there's another reason. I remember one picture in particular after Black Panther of a white girl who dressed up as Shuri and being like, you should want this, right? Like as a parent, you should want your child to see people of color and be like, I can see myself in that person too. In education, we talk about the concept of windows and mirrors. A lot of times we talk about it from the angle of like Black children need Black teachers to be mirrors, right? They get windows all the time, which is people who are different from them and give them exposure to like other experiences and other types of people and cultures, etc. But like they need mirrors. They need people who look like them, teaching them. That person can empathize with their experience, can articulate some of the things that they go to better than them can have. There's like a bunch of data to back that up. What we don't often talk about is like what impact does it have on white students if all of their authority figures in their life are white. If all your teachers are white, if all your principals are white, if all your doctors are white, if all of your pastors are white, if every single authority figure that you ever come across in your life is a white person, you have no windows. And you're not going to be able to fathom people different from you in positions of authority. And I think that's actually a large part of the problem that we have with white adults who come up against Black people that are in positions that are equal to or above them and don't know how to operate in that space because they've literally never had that happen before. That is also another way that representation in film operates. If you're a child, like want to grow up and be like that person, can see a person who looks different than them and can be inspired by that person. It is a lens through which white people and white audiences can have a window.
Crazy stupid podcast. I'm hoping to have them on at some point too.
Real rad. That was pretty cool.
They're criminally undersubscribed. One of those channels that just like, why I should not be doing better than you. It's not like there's no justice in this world. All right. So Anthony, I would just say that like only you can decide who's a chud in your heart, you know? But yes, he's a chud.
Yeah.
Look, we gave a lot of benefit of the doubt for Vito, and you know, it's not really what this is about. I don't want to speak on behalf of the initiative or anything, but like, you know, we did, and I think it's fine to say that he puts certain characteristics and positions forward more clearly depending on who he's around, and I think that is a fucking cowardly way to be. That's just me personally, not Morgan, not anybody else in the initiative saying that. That's me. I think it's fucking Weasley.
I'll say he's said some awful things about trans issues and then doubled down on them when corrected, and that kind of is all I need to know about a person.
Yeah. You know, at the same time, anybody that's wondering, I'm sure the reason it's being asked is because like we had made some content with him, we had shown his stuff, and it's like, look, man, you know, he's not the most directly awful chud that there is, and he was making content about really awful chud that was effective and still kind of is, and I was willing to put that forward because you know, I guess I don't know, I have no principles, I don't know.
Well, here's how I would look at it, or here's exactly how I look at it, is that someone can be not a good person and still be right on something, and we can discuss whether or not it's right to elevate them or how much we should elevate them when a bad person says good things. In the same way good people can say bad things.
True.
Like we're all, you know, nuance is important.
Anthony's all the way on a different topic now. He didn't.
He's on to Doctor Who, which is fine. They can Doctor Who out.
True. You know, one thing actually. So somebody reached out to me on Blue Sky of all places, and it was somebody they had like hardly any presence. It didn't have a profile picture, which, by the way, I have a rule that I don't engage with people. I don't follow people back that can't be bothered to just put a profile picture, because it kind of just comes off like I don't know, you're doing this for some shady reason. Whenever I see
right.
That. And there was that kind of person, and they had asked me, do you want to answer any of the accusations against you? And I was like, and I just said nope. You know,
yeah, no,
because yeah, look, I'm relatively confident that if there were accusations I had not heard that were worth responding to, that I would have heard them from 50 other people that I know to some degree before I would have heard it from some rando without a profile picture on Blue Sky.
Right.
And they were like, "What? Why? You don't want to defend yourself?" And I'm like, "From what? I don't really care." And it turned out it was a video from months and months ago by a certain little fucking chud that was trying to do clout sharking off of everybody in the initiative at different points.
One of those.
And it's like, look, guys, I don't know, if you can't judge that stuff for yourself, I don't know what to tell you, but I can't. Maybe look around and see if I've responded to something like that first before you just go directly to me and start expecting me to defend myself just because you happen to see a video. I'm not going to do that. Sorry.
Well, and on the dishonest side of the internet, and I'm not saying this person is dishonest or shady, but on the dishonest side of the internet, a common tactic is to use sock puppet accounts to ask that sort of question over and over and over and over and over again in public forums, just using a different face and a different name.
Yes.
As a harassment tactic and as a tactic to defame someone.
Yep.
All right. Well.
All right. So here we go with the.
Here we go.
I put it off long enough for fuck's sake.
We put it off for 90 minutes. Gotta bite the bullet.
So let's just go ahead and say the protocols of the Elders of Zion. Or the protocols of the meetings of the learned elders of Zion, is a fabricated text. It's fake.
It's a fake.
It's a fake. God damn, do I have that drop in here? Come on, please.
How do you not? You're in charge of drops.
I know, but I mean, so I'd have to switch over to like another profile, I think, to have it. Maybe.
No. All right. Well, you know what? I'll forgive this one too, because you did the show this week, so I can't be too mad.
I don't have it. God damn it.
All right.
You know what? It's worth it. I'm doing it. Boom.
Uh-oh. Oh no, I'm in the shellcast.
It's a fake.
Got it.
All right.
Also, that's not all though, because it's
insidious.
Ooh, yeah. My man. That is a hot Cardassian if I have ever seen one.
I mean, yeah, and he definitely doesn't know anything about like killing people and spying or anything like that.
That's the thing. He's got such a great fashion taste. Asterisk.
It's just a simple tailor. All right,
just a simple tailor.
It's fabricated text purporting to detail a Jewish plot for global domination, largely plagiarized from several earlier sources. It was first published in Imperial Russia in 1903. Translated into multiple languages and disseminated internationally in the early part of the 20th century. And then, in the U.S., a lot of the disseminating was done by Henry Ford.
Yeah, Henry Ford was a big fucking fan of this.
Fucking like the only thing that he like disseminated more than fucking cars was the anti-Semitism. Like
he got real quiet about that in 1942. All of a sudden.
No, he did denounce it. He did actually denounce it.
Yeah.
But like, at that point, like what damage have you done, motherfucker? Anyway.
Oh, a ton. A metric shit ton.
So it's been translated in multiple languages. It played a key part in popularizing the belief in an international Jewish conspiracy, which, if you're not aware, if you haven't ever looked into like any conspiracy theory, it doesn't matter if you're talking about anti-vax, or if you're talking about the flat earth folks. All of these, if you dig deep enough into these conspiracy organizations, these groups, you're going to get to the JQ.
Yeah, so many conspiracy theories that is their origin point, or eventually that conspiracy, even if it doesn't start like that, gets pulled back around into the singularity that is the JQ.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of their stuff is just like a reasonable person's going to end up going, well, wait, why would they do this? Why would some group do this? Like white replacement, like it's they're replacing white people with black people and brown people and all, it's like, well, why would they do this? Well, because the Jews,
right?
Like
what
that's
the fuck does that
basically.
mean?
Yeah, well, we're going to find out apparently. So that's what
fun.
the protocols purport to explain.
Well, let's let them. We'll call it explain.
So beginning in 1933, distillations of the work were assigned by some German teachers as if they were factual, to be read by German school children throughout Nazi Germany. This became a problem for anyone that's not aware. Although the text had been exposed as fraudulent by a British newspaper, The Times, in 1921, and by German newspaper Frankfurter Zeitung in 1924. So, I mean, look, sometimes, or maybe all the time, I don't know, once a stupid fucking belief gets spread around enough and people decide this is true, it doesn't matter if you
it does not.
In 1924, today it remains widely available in numerous languages in print and on the internet, continues to be presented by anti-Semitic groups as a genuine document. It has been described as probably the most influential work of anti-Semitism ever written, since it emerged from Russia shortly before World War I. And this was believed to be created, by the way. It was just like the same reason that people that generally the right wants to focus the populace at other parts of the populace and how they're the ones that are responsible for everything wrong with your life right now. It's it's like trans and queer people.
Right. It's the same. Pick a visible and small minority with no power.
Yep.
And
people that they have a lifestyle or are a certain way that you don't understand. So there's also not enough of them for you to like make. There's a good chance you don't know one.
You don't know them, right?
That's
a huge deal.
Yeah, because if you did, you might go, wait a second, that's bullshit. But yeah. So the protocols is a fabricated document purporting to be factual. Textual evidence shows it could not have been produced prior to 1901. The document alludes to the assassinations of Umberto I and William McKinley, for example, as though these events were plotted out in advance. The title of Sergei Nihilus, who's just a huge piece of shit, widely distributed first edition, contains the dates 1902 to 1903, and it is likely that the document was actually written at this time in Russia. Let's see. So, okay, so there was... Sorry, go ahead.
And we're talking about the time of Russia. We're like, we are inching ever closer to the Russian Revolution because Tsar, not a great set of people.
No, this is this is Tsar Nicholas II, I believe, right?
One of the Tsar Nicholases.
I think it was the second. And like, yeah, they were not popular. They were really not popular. I mean, the first one wasn't popular, and then this is the second one. Not doing anything good for the people at all.
No.
And yeah, if you ever want to know how angry they were, the Russian people were after that at the revolution, let's just say that the family, the children, didn't make it out of that.
No, they.
When I learned about this and I was listening to a podcast about it, and like there's some pretty
fucked up shit.
Well, there's like very detailed descriptions of what these people did to the children of the, and it's like, holy fuck, man, can y'all not spare the kids a little? No,
nope,
okay.
They killed the kids horrifically, and yeah, Russia was already home to a lot of anti-Semitic pogroms, and as Ada points out in chat,
pogrom, yeah. Anybody's not aware, pogrom is just kind of somewhat of a. Is it sanctioned, or is it just like by the state, or is it just kind of influenced? How do those get started? Just like
you know what? I don't know enough to know.
Essentially, it was just people going around, like, rounding up Jewish citizens and harming them in various ways and murdering them. And I think it was in Ukraine in this time period when there was something like 20,000 Jews were killed in a short amount of time in pogroms. yeah. So it was it was written at the beginning of a series of anti-Jewish pogroms in the Russian Empire, in which thousands of Jews were killed or fled the country. Many of the people, let's see. Oh yeah, this forgery was probably directly responsible for inciting these pogroms. So cool, just right out of the gate, just causing some murders, man, like mass murders, based on some bullshit. I mean, I guess we can say that we are kind of fortunate in a way that like misinformation doesn't lead directly to that kind of harm right now, maybe, or does I mean, I guess maybe depending.
I think it does, right? You know, maybe not to the exact same level, but you look at like libs of TikTok and how many terrorist threats have come up from that, right? And that's all just fucking made up shit and taken out of context shit.
And as long as they're allowed to continue doing what they're doing, it's only a matter of time before something
right, something will happen, and she will publicly say, "Oh, that's not what we were trying to do," and then privately she will, or even like wink and nod, be like, "Haha, got him."
Well, I mean, yeah, she literally had like stochastic terrorist in her bio
profile,
at one point, you know, and she took it out like the last time that there was like some threats or something was, I don't remember what happened, but she took it out suddenly.
Right.
Notably. Anyway, so trying to decide how much of this is worth going into, but basically it's probably was written by a guy who was pre-KGB. They were like whatever the KGB was before it was the KGB, which was, you know, it was essentially a spy organization before any kind of modern spy organization existed. And he, you know, seems to have taken it from multiple different cultures and applied these various claims of different, you know, disparate things to and the kernel of truth being that there was I guess a Zionist Congress that was held in what 1902.
Okay.
So there was, there was a group of Zionists that got together to say, you know, hey, we, you know, but like it was widely reported on. It was not hidden. It was not like there was no fucking secret to it. You know what I mean? It was just like a thing that happened, like anything else.
Right. And so for those who don't know, a Zionist is a person, typically a Jew, who believes in a Jewish homeland.
That Israel is the homeland of the Jews, and that it is good. They should be there forever.
Right.
And you know, however you feel about that, I don't know. You know, it gets kind of hairy there because
that's a whole other can of worms that we will not be talking about today.
It's especially right now. But
it's a sticky wicket.
Yeah, you started seeing nationalism popping up around this time as well. Tsar Nicholas I's slogan of orthodoxy, autocracy, and nationality, whereby non-Orthodox and non-Russian subjects, including Jews, Catholics, Protestants, were viewed as subversive fifth column who needed to be forcibly converted and assimilated. But even Jews, like the composer Maximilian Steinberg, who attempted to assimilate by converting to Orthodoxy, were still regarded with suspicion as potential infiltrators, supposedly trying to take over society.
Right, because the idea, and this isn't even it's one of the things I read about when reading about the Cathars. This is something we saw in that region of France and Spain, where like you would have Jews who would, because the Catholic Church was not nice people, try and force conversions, but then they would convert to protect themselves. But then because everyone knew they converted to protect themselves, they would be singled out for abuse and suspicion because, well, they're not real believers. They're trying to infiltrate our society rather than just stay alive.
Well, so I listen to a podcast on a regular basis called Time Suck.
Okay.
With Dan Cummins, and he's a stand-up comedian, but not one of those. You know,
not one of those.
It's not one of those. Oh, I'm so everything's woke and I can't say nothing. No, not that. He's actually a very cool guy, very funny, and he does Time Suck. I mean, like each episode is like 3 hours, and he goes deep. And it is just really, really fun time. And so he not long ago did, you know, this is kind of what sparked me to want to talk about it. Was like, okay, he literally read through the protocols, and I'd never heard them before.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay, that's what they say. Weird, you know. And just kind of made me want to demystify it for other people as well.
Yeah, and I believe they should be demystified because it's like I haven't read all of them, but from what I have read of it, they're kind of dumb,
kind of cringe and dumb. Yeah, but so he wanted to start off the episode like a lot of people's had been asking him, like kind of confused, like what is it about Jewish people, like why are they so historically just like seen this way, like, and why can't they shake this, why does it go back so far into history and so on? And it's like, it's actually a good question, I think, and it's valid to wonder that. And the way he explained it, I think, kind of nails it, because so when you think about there is, like, the Jewish people had a homeland that they was their homeland, so to speak, but it was kind of almost like not prehistory, but like so far back that it's not really well recorded, so it's but since then they basically just as a people wandered a lot, and they would go to various nations and places, and like kind of just, hey, we're gonna hang out here for a while. So there's that aspect of it, which, and look, none of this is to say that they deserve any fucking thing. I'm just saying that this is based on human barbarian nature, apparently, like just how certain people can be. But like
there's a lot of crossover when we're talking about like mainland European fascists and anti-Semites, a lot of crossover with their hate for the Roma people, and in the UK, a lot of like English fascists are very anti-traveler, which is another group of nomadic people.
See, but I mean, so then you think about like there's the specifics of their religion, their culture. For one thing, if you want to become a Christian, you just got to like say that loud enough in public place, and somebody's going to run up to you and fucking throw water on you and be like, "Oh, you're
right." They will do it for you. Yeah, they will just.
If you want to become Jewish, it is not that easy.
It's a process.
It's a whole process. There's a whole, like, they just are not that like, yeah, come on. No, you gotta do some shit. You gotta actually prove that you fucking want it. And it's not just like I'm scared I'm gonna go to hell, so I better do this. It's none of that. So also, they are kosher, so they don't eat certain foods that a lot of people do eat. So you think about people that are wandering, they show up in an area where they don't, people might offer them food and they go, oh no, I'm not gonna eat that, I can't eat that.
Right, I can't eat that.
That's kind of still sometimes some cultures seen as like an insult. You go to somebody's house and they offer you dinner, nah, I'm not gonna eat that shit. You know what I mean? Like and then they also are very like, they don't want to let just anybody into their religion.
Right.
Whereas like you're like, no, we want people in our religion. They're like, nah, we're good. We don't need you. And then and then they're just, these things kind of apparently just in certain fucking people's lizard brains, society's lizard brains, stack up to mean something untrustworthy and something like we don't like these people, and they're here to influence us because we don't know what their religion's really about. They won't let us in on it. They won't let us in on the secrets of what they're doing, so they must be doing something secret. And like, it's just, this is this.
And I think you can't understate that also they are the bad guy in the predominant holy book, or one of the bad guys in the predominant holy book in Europe, right? Like, the Christ killer myth is not new.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, it's like, but like Christ was a Jew, so like,
right,
that never made sense.
They have explanations for why that doesn't matter, right? Like they have their wiggle room on that.
Besides, wasn't it Romans?
Yes and no.
Okay, it's been a while since
it is both of those things.
I haven't thought about Christ lore in a long time.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, so you can see that like what it seems like to me is that they are other than being historically nomadic peoples, other than that, they have a very refined kind of culture that they take very seriously, and that's fucking cool, and that's whatever, yeah, doing your thing. But then other people see that as something to be afraid of. There's I guess room there for superstitious and cowardly people to fucking, I was about to say cowardly lot. Too much Batman. To kind of like place their own fucking fears and shit onto that. And I think that's where it kind of just sprouts from. And then on top of that, and this is where the whole globalist cabal thing comes in.
Your Alex Jones was pretty good there.
Thank you. I hadn't seen, somebody had reminded me. I said I was going to do a silly voice. I don't know if I should do it now, Alex Jones, because look, he just got let back onto fucking Twitter.
Yep, I just saw that today.
Fucking Christ, man. But you know,
they're grasping at straws. They're just grasping at any straws they can find.
Elon's like, look, his pay pigs, they buy those fucking slop buckets and that ball under deodorant and stuff like that.
Right, they'll buy whatever. They'll buy ads next to Nazis.
So there's the fact that going back to the Middle Ages and before really, so Christians of old, it's actually in the Bible and they just don't care anymore. But at one point they did care that you're not supposed to lend money to people as a Christian,
right?
As in like lend and then make money, like interest on that lending.
Usury,
yes. So usury is it's expressly forbidden. Mm-hmm. And so Christians of old, they were like, well, okay, all right, fair enough. We can't do it, but we can pay somebody to do it.
Right.
We can give that job to somebody else who we won't let them do any other jobs because we don't trust them, these Jewish people, right? Like, but we'll let them do the job that we can't do because of our religion. And even though we don't respect the things that they do and don't do because of their religion, we're just gonna fucking push this onto them. And you start to see how this Christian fucking mindset is a whole problem, man.
Yep. Well, and a part of it that kind of goes, that part of it that sort of gets missed historically is that, like, the idea of, like, the Jewish banker, like, yes, the Europeans controlled the jobs they could do, and that was one of them, but you don't need a whole religious sect of bankers. And so most, historic or medieval European Jews were poor.
Mm-hmm.
And where they lived was controlled. This is, not exactly, hidden information, but like even talking about how they were, only allowed to be bankers gives the anti-Semites more credit than they deserve.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this was the whole thing a couple of years ago with Vosh and American Johnson too. And I don't know if anybody remembers that, paid attention to that, but it was a whole thing. Because Vosh,
they feuded for a while, didn't they? Like they had a whole.
Well, it was mainly Vosh and his wife. I forget her name.
Oh yeah, okay.
But like the thing was EJ eventually came on and talked to Vosh, and they were talking about, and Vosh was trying to give an example of, I don't remember how he set it up, but basically it was like, he was trying to get to the root of what is EJ's morality, because it seemed to be that he put his radical leftism first. Like, against any kind of moral concerns in some cases.
That seems unhealthy.
Yeah, and Vosh was trying to kind of draw that out of him, I think. And like where it ended up going was, he asked him, why did the Nazis, basically he was saying if the Nazis had a point, if they were, EJ kind of said this actually from what I remember, that he kind of implied that the reason that the Nazis were wrong is because the Jews weren't controlling, didn't have control over the banks or whatever. And Vosh is like, actually, they did have a disproportionate amount of control over the banks.
Oh,
and that just blew up. That, like, so many people,
that clip blew up. Yep.
Well, I mean, because you're dealing with words there, and apparently if you don't think about words, you can say whatever they mean, whatever you want.
Right.
And it's just, you can go to the fucking, the any kind of Jewish website or whatever that's like, they will say this is true. It's disproportionate is not a negative word, and I think that's where it was coming from, was people were placing negative value on, like, as in like that's a negative judgment to say disproportionate. It's like, no, it's not. It's just a value neutral thing to say
that it was disproportionate. It also doesn't mean that it was like a majority, right? Like that they had more of them didn't mean they were all of them,
right?
Or that all of them were that thing. It's the
same thing as saying today that African Americans are disproportionately represented in crime statistics. That is nowhere near the fucking end of the story. There's so much context that fucking matters to a lot. you know, that
use out of that context cube today. Holy shit.
You know, so like, I mean, I got it right here. I can pull it out.
Oh.
But no, I got dirty clothes stacked up behind me, so I don't want to turn my camera.
Don't show off here. Yeah, I don't have a camera, so you know.
And non-compete was instantly like, yes, that was it. He was like, oh, okay, all right. He fucking just like left the call as soon as
yeets himself off the call.
And then they went. He had this whole fucking cope stream where like this is where I was like, oh wow, some people really showing their colors, man. Like fucking what's his name? Re-education. And then what's her name was there too. You know the I forget her name. Nonetheless, but it was like they were all like saying, "Oh, Vosh said that the Nazis had a point," you know, and it's like that's
what
not
he said.
what he said at all, man. And like you can look at this stuff, you can find this information at the most uncontroversial, like actually Jewish, you know, historical documents and stuff will say this. But nonetheless, they ran with it. So
can I have a hot take tangent?
Sure.
After debate streams, just don't. Like, maybe don't do that. It just looks like you're going back into your corner to whine or to brag or to just not be it just makes you look kind of like either self-important or just kind of like an asshole. Anyways, as you were.
I can see that. I would say that as someone who's been in a couple of debates, that there is there is like an anxiety and like an energy that builds up in especially in like a heated one. It's like it was good in the couple times that I've gotten really heated ones to kind of do a cool down talk after. You know, of course I never got on by myself after a debate and that I supposedly won and then just started like, you know, making up lies about somebody's family and saying crazy
really
shit,
gross.
you know, for 2 hours.
I wonder
like
who would do that.
I don't know.
Some weirdo.
Yeah, it's the Jazz Dog song. Oh my god, if somebody can find the Jazz Dog song for me real quick. So let's see. Look, I don't disagree, but I think that the thing is that Vosh makes content that he knows is going to, because this is just this is kind of the problem. It is the problem. The way the algorithm functions on YouTube, you kind of, if you want to play the game on any real level, like Vosh does, you have to fucking play it, and you kind of have to do it shamelessly. And I've done it a couple of times over the, you know, and sometimes I'll still lean into it, and I don't feel great about it anytime that I do it. But it's like, do I make content that I really believe in and think needs to be seen, and then just kind of like title it boringly and you know, it doesn't get seen? I've literally changed titles and seen it. The change mean everything to a video. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the algorithm prioritization is just out to get you. Like there's a reason Vosh does it.
Please.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and I'm not sitting here defending all of Vosh's takes or all of his clips or videos or anything like that. There's also several channels that clip Vosh and upload, you know, probably really without any of his, like, I mean, he consents, because I've heard him say, like, if you just want to clip his stuff and upload it, he doesn't care. Like, he gives permission for that. True socialism. But
what a comrade.
Right. Who controls the algorithm? Well, YouTube.
Google. Yeah.
Google, you know, because they know that this is a thing that happens and they don't change it.
It's why they wring their hands about all the hate on YouTube, but it never gets any better. They could do something. They could do lots of some things, but they won't.
They will not, because, you know, somebody said at one point, like, you know, I wish the YouTube algorithm's so broken. I'm like, not really. I mean, to me and you it is. To YouTube, it's working perfectly.
Mm-hmm. It's a feature, not a bug.
They're seeing the clicks, because the reason it works that way, for anybody that's not aware, is engagement is all that matters. They want you engaging with, and what that means is clicking on and clicking on shit. And so
they want you seeing ads. Mm-hmm. And how they know you see ads and watch things all the way through are engaged with what you see is A, because of watch time, and B, because of, you know, the little buttons in the corner there, but the video. Those buttons, they lead to the same thing. Doesn't matter which one you press.
As I like
by
to
the
say,
way, if you've ever pressed one of those buttons, you should press them.
we are in an algorithmic war with content that has the edge on us, because that's why they seem so predominant, is because they make content that's repetitive, which the algorithm loves.
It loves it.
It does not like whenever I make, like, the fact that I do a podcast that's not specifically about comics. Honestly, that's kind of why I've started making sure to mention comics in this show, because then I can put it in the algorithm, and and then I'm not like, because
it helps out, right?
One of the times that we've done an episode where it's just like completely unrelated to any kind of fan culture or anything like that, it feels it. And I'm not saying I regret that. I love doing the show, and I'm not going to stop because of that. But gotta make it work.
Yeah, you can see what it pushes by how many people show up, how many views it gets in the couple days it's up afterwards before it gets moved to their channel. The other channel has no views. Check out the other channel. There's some of the backlot up there.
So yeah, there's the repetition, there's the sensationalist nature of it, which is why they do the big word. There's like one big word that's the trigger word kind of thing. Destroyed, that gets people excited. It gets people like all up in their feelings, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna see a Wokey destroyed or whatever, and then they click, they hit like, they comment, and that is fucking good for that video.
And to bring it back to our main topic, it's the same sort of thing, right? Like the title of the book for its day was this, like, oh, it's a secret, right? You want to know what the secret is. It's this the protocols of this mysterious group, these learned elders, right? It's got an enticing title. It's the same shit, different century.
Yep. And by the way, Chariot, I realize now that I think that you can't post a link in chat. I think I have it set to that, so I'm just gonna find it myself. But I do appreciate that you found it, and good effort. If you're on Discord, by the way, we should connect on there.
Yeah. Oh god, got some gunk in my eye. Yeah, it's
so
it's some good stuff. Not really.
Where were we? What are we?
We're talking about the protocols, about who disseminated them and what they said.
Right. So they said a bunch of bullshit, and that was it. No,
that's, I mean, the short version, at any rate.
When you have, like, this is why Republicans love an uneducated, voter base, because when people don't understand how society works or how human beings work in a group, in communities, and how politics works, it's like everything they do is reactive based on their feelings. So like you can tell them a lot of different stuff that isn't really rooted in reality, as we see all the time now. As long as
you can build a parallel reality, right? And I think that's what the protocols do in a real way, is it creates this parallel reality where there's this group that does these evil things, and they're the source of all your problems.
And it keeps the eyes off of the people who are actually preventing your lives from getting better, right? Like, and that's that is the primary function of it. It's like, yeah, there's some definite real hatred of Jewish people that's in there, but like the cold, cynical aspect of it is that, like, well, they're worried about that, and we can fucking just raise their taxes, we can do all this shit, we can take this money, we can be corrupt pieces of shit, and nobody's going to notice or care.
And that the important part is it while it exists to create this distraction, is this double-edged sword, because if it breaks containment, it will ruin countries. Like, if the people who believe it get in charge, it is not good for the ruling people, because if nothing else, hey, what did you do about it, right? Like, oops.
Bob of the old ways. Hell yeah. Look,
dislike this stream, like this stream.
You probably would not have heard of me at all. Not to say I'm like huge or anything, but like you probably wouldn't have heard of me if it wasn't for my anti-fans, the people that show up. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and it doesn't matter. They're still going to do it, because it gives them a sense of power. They feel like they're doing something that matters, and it's like, hey man, thank you, really, like thank you,
yeah.
Because there's if the up and down vote mattered, they wouldn't have removed the down vote.
If it actually mattered, the down vote there is entirely there to get you to click the button.
Yep, there you go.
Totally.
Exactly. The Howard Stern model. That's what I should start calling it, the Howard Stern model.
Yep. It's exactly what it is.
Sorry, I keep getting back onto that instead of the the protocols.
It's hard to talk about.
It is, just because it's like part of me feels like I'm just spreading stuff that doesn't need to be spread anymore, but at the same time I do think it's important to know how stupid and
right. I think that's the subject at hand, really, is that like it's dumb, but we don't know anything about it. I think that's part of the mysticization of it, is that like, because it is this objectively bad, wrong thing that we know, like, it sort of makes it this forbidden fruit that like we don't tell people what's in it. But like, if we knew what was in it, it'd be, wow, that's fucking dumb.
It really is. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I'm trying to do something here.
I'm Anthony. I'm the real life Emperor Palpatine, but way hotter.
Yeah. I'll be watching you with great interest.
You got me with that one, you son of a bitch.
More power bottom.
Have I told you the son of a bitch story? This is a complete tangent. So my brother and I were fighting over at my mom's one time. And my brother called me something. I don't remember what he said. But I went, "You son of a bitch." And then I paused and went, "Sorry, Mom." Yep, that's the son of a bitch story.
Bob of the old ways, I didn't know you made content, man. Like, what's up? Make some more. I bet it's good.
Maybe we'll come visit. Come say hi.
Okay, at its core, here's what it is, just to, in case you can't stick around for all the details or whatever, but this is what it is. It is have you ever heard of the JQ, which stands for the Jewish question, which is the general, it alludes to this belief that anti-Semites, white nationalists, white supremacists, Nazis, and even Islamic folks, certain types, believe
very popular in certain Islamic sects and groups.
It's the belief that Jewish people, not even Jewish people, just like a small cabal of them, like just a handful of them, with all them, they have all the money, they hold the purse strings, they hold the power, they control the media, they control the governments, they control everything, and that, so basically anything that happens is because they've designed it to happen that way, and that is to keep Christians down. It's a very Christian victim, narrative thing, but all those are. So
yeah, it's a Christian centric, and because it's sort of it's easy to work the Bible into that. So the Jews, as seen in the Bible,
but more than that, it is also that they, not just that, but they, because that might not be enough to get certain people
right
to care. But
because what have they done to me lately?
But if you know this show, if you've been around this Fapcast long enough, there's a common thing that just keeps popping up. It's just this one, element of pretty much almost every, Fap we've done, where essentially it just, that it repeats, right? And that's
Mortal Panics are like cover songs.
Yes.
They might change the lyrics, change the pace a little bit, but it's the same song and the same dance.
What the hell is wrong with me that I don't have
Wisconsin
drop here?
Sour as Mouse is they're a long-time viewer. They know Wisconsin is the real problem.
Yeah, so here we go. So the common element between most of the moral panics and forced adversities that we've done is this.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
So
right, we got to get into that, don't we?
Just like there's now, and this is why this is actually kind of scary how connected these things are in theme.
Yeah.
Nowadays you got the groomer panic, right? Where anybody that's trans or whatever, or teacher that mentions that they're married to this same-sex partner or whatever, it's like they're grooming your kids or whatever,
or the people who support them.
Yeah, if you're like, hey, actually no, trans people are generally pretty cool, groomer, that kind of those people. So with how that relates to this is okay. So in the original version, the OG, the original trilogy, that Lucas won't release anymore. The fucking asshole. No, it's with the JQ. It's that that the Jewish cabal also, they take Christian children and they drain their blood for. And they make bread with it, like unleavened bread, and it's called I forget what it's called.
Blood libel.
Blood libel. Thank you. Which is not a real thing.
No.
It's bullshit. And then that has actually been evolved, I guess, is the best, not the best word, but it's a word. Hold on a second.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of the old school adrenochrome thing.
Yes.
That's
it is exactly what
that is.
And adrenochrome thing's not even old school. It's kind of new.
Right. But that's what the blood libel thing is like a play on, right?
Yep. That's literally the same thing. Just like, they did it for youth, for immortality, this Jewish cabal. And now it's like the Hollywood elites and the wokies and the, blah, blah, blah. All the political people that you hate, they're doing it.
I wish I remember where I heard this, but someone was talking about on the interwebs how early Hollywood, there was a stereotype about how Jewish it was, and that's because talking about like banks were the only place Jewish people could get a job. Same thing was true in the acting industry in the States, in the movie biz. I don't know how true that is. I can't remember where I heard it, but it just popped up in my brain, so we're gonna say it.
So, are you following there, Julia, or anyone else that was not aware of this at all on any level? Do you see where like this connects to nowadays QAnon, and how QAnon is just kind of a redressed version of this? It's like this,
right.
Of course, QAnon is like and we're gonna have to FAP. It's gonna be a big old FAP.
It's gonna be a multi-FAP.
When we do that one eventually, we're probably gonna have to do it before the election for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's up to us, Morgan. It's all on us. Whew.
We're doing our part.
Yeah, so that's what it is. As in, that's what it isn't, because it's not a real thing.
It's not real, yeah. So it is just a collection of myths about Jewish people that were myths, that were, and you had, hundreds of years about all the bad things the Jews did, and they found a way to put it in a book and say the Jews wrote it, which is kind of impressively scummy.
Very, very scummy. Very scummy. Okay, so
once again, the Tsar, they suck.
You guys want to hear some protocols?
Sure, let's hear some protocols.
All right.
We've been putting it off long enough.
There's going to be some words in here that I don't know how to pronounce, and so that'll make it extra funny, maybe.
Okay, that will help. It'll make us sound extra ignorant, so that probably helps here.
Okay. Protocol 1. The Review de Estudes Juves, financed by James de Rothschild, published in 1880, shows how true the protocols are in saying that the learned elders of Zion have been carrying on their plan for centuries. On January 13th, 1489, Kimor, Jewish rabbi of Arisan province, wrote of the grand send. God damn it. It's really stupid. It's almost like written the way the Bible is written, so that like dumb people think that it's saying something smart.
Right. It has that like, but also like the Bible, it has that he said, she said, he said, she said thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's this rabbi said this, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's like not even second, third person. It's like seventh person perspective.
Right.
Okay, here's just the gist of a few of them, I think. So, make your sons advocates and lawyers, that you may put Christians under the yoke and dominate the world. That's essentially Protocol 1.
That's, I love the scope, right? Like, not that the world had 8 billion people at this time, but it's a large place. This small minority religion with no anything is gonna take over the world.
This is stupid, so stupid. So basically, this is saying to pretend to be Christian.
Right, there it is. Yeah.
So become Christians, but keep the law of Moses in your hearts. Make your sons merchants, that they may despoil the Christians. Make your sons and daughters doctors and apothecaries, that they may take away Christian lives. Make your sons canons and clerics, that they may destroy their churches. So, it's essentially telling people, like, you don't trust anybody, even the people you think you trust. You can't trust them. They're probably Jews.
It's like, back to another thing we covered, the Red Scare, right? It's the secret communist thing. It's secret Jews.
You can't understand what oh, God damn it. All right. Empty Mitch. All right. You're up at, like, I don't know, 7 a.m. in Australia for this, so I'll give it to you.
Gotta give him the voice.
I'll feed you, baby bird. Okay, let's see.
Chris, we're talking about the protocols of the Elders of Zion and the origin of all conspiracy theories we're dealing with today.
Protocol 2. Motto: all Jews for one, and one for all, like the Three Musketeers. The net with which Israel is throwing over the globe is widening and spreading daily. The day is not distant when all the riches and treasures of the earth will become property of the children of Israel. Okay. And, the frog in my throat actually kind of helps a little bit.
It does, yeah.
Let's see this. Protocol 3. Jewry is enslaving all Christian people. There is a Jew world plot, and it now stands completely unmasked. Wait, no, this is actually this is commentary on it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make out what's what here. So, like,
right, because there's the conspiracy, and then there's the theory about the theory.
Right. So I think what I'm finding here is that it's not going to be. You probably can find it for sure, but I think for the most part you would find, if you're going to look for the actual protocols, you're going to find it with commentary that's going to kind of explain to you what the bullshit is that it's saying, to a degree. So. Okay, here's Protocol 4. Sons of Israel, the hour for our long-cherished victory over Russia is near. Close up your ranks. Make known your people's national policy. Fight for eternal ideals.
Well, to go back to, they make it local. Fight. They make it about Russia there.
Yep.
That's very specific. Wonder what that's about.
Well, so a little thing popped up over the last couple of days over on Elon Musk's Twitter that has fed right into this, and I think it's going to say better than anything I could say, or we could say. Have you guys heard about this this Grok AI?
Yes, I have, and I don't want to have, but it's funny.
Apparently, this Grok AI is a thing that I guess Elon Musk approved or something. He definitely didn't fucking invent it, but he approved it for Twitter. And it isn't necessarily going the way that he probably wants it to, because it's an AI and apparently it works.
Well, it does the thing all the other AIs do, which is steal all the information. So it stole some information. Just the correct information, because reality has a known left-wing bias.
Okay, so someone asked Grok, do Jews rule the world?
Oh no!
All right, okay. And this the name of this account. The name of this account is a very well named Unlimited L's. So definitely an unlimited L right here. So the Grok replied, "Oh, you've stumbled upon one of the oldest conspiracy theories in the book. The idea that Jews rule the world is a classic anti-Semitic trope that has been debunked time and time again. It's like saying that unicorns control the stock market or that aliens are behind the latest fashion trends."
Oh my God.
The truth is, there's no secret cabal of Jewish people pulling the strings of global politics, finance, and media. The world is far too complex and chaotic for any single group to have that kind of control. Plus, and this is the fucking point. This is like the bullet in the head of this stupid bullshit, in my opinion. If Jews really did rule the world, don't you think they'd do a better job of making sure there wasn't so much anti-Semitism?
Right.
Fucking morons.
Right. It's like, yeah, we're so bad, but like, you know, look at all the anti-Semitism. These are unrelated problems, I'm sure.
And yeah, like, come on, man. I mean,
oh boy, you know it's it's good when you got Pim Tool going off about it.
What was he responding to specifically? I'm wondering, because like, was it this one? Was he like, oh, I can't believe it said that woke shit? Like,
Satan does rule secular music, or so I have been told by some people.
You know, it's not that it's funnier than you. It's the context of the thing. I think it's the context that like it's some idiot that's definitely trying to grift on the JQ and whatnot and spread that shit. And he's thinking he's going to get an answer that's going to support him because in his stupid fucking deluded mind, algorithmically deluded mind, he thinks he's seeing reality. And that therefore, if this AI that Elon Musk introduced, it must therefore support his reality, right?
Right. I look at it this way. Chatbots aren't in these sorts of stories, right? Where they go, what is a woman? I'm sure someone has asked at that and gotten the correct answer. Not the Matt Walsh version. And they're like, oh no, it's, they're just making fools of themselves, right? Because like they asked something that stole an encyclopedia what the answer to a question is, and because the thing has stolen all the encyclopedias, it goes, what does the encyclopedia say about it? Because that's how it was trained. And so like it's just watching someone own themselves.
Yeah. That is a good point. Yeah, the fact that it kind of fucking, it kind of glanced his ass with that unicorn comment.
Sure, but I'm sure it stole that from somewhere.
Right, that's the thing. Somebody, it's not the Chat GPT. Somebody else said that at some point, and they're funnier than you.
Right.
I mean, look, Matt Walsh. What do we call him around here?
Noted child genital enthusiast Matt Walsh.
I don't know any public figure who has expressed more interest in children's genitals than Matt Walsh.
It's crazy. It is fucking crazy.
He just unprovoked is talking about him all the time. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah, I got the transphobia one too. I got a few of those right here. You want to hear some other ones?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so unlimited L's, just stacking up these unlimited L's, decided to ask, who are the 13% of the population in the US that commit 60% of the crime?
Oof.
Grok says, well, you know what they say, never let the facts get in the way of a good story. But since you asked, let's dive into this. The 13% refers to the African American population in the US, which, according to the latest census data, is around 41.1 million people. Now, the claim that this 13% commits 60% of the crime is a bit like saying that the earth is flat. It's a myth that just won't go away. Crime statistics are more complex than a simple percentage. They're influenced by factors like age, socioeconomic status, and location. So while the 13% may be a catchy number, it doesn't tell the whole story. In reality, crime rates vary widely across different demographics, and it's important to look at the bigger picture. Crime is a serious issue that affects everyone, and it's not fair depending on any one group.
Yeah.
Not as thorough of not as like a oh fuck yeah kind of replies to the other one, but that's okay.
It's interesting that you can sort of hear the text, especially as someone reads it. You can hear the tone in the text shift as the AI is pulling from different things.
Yep. And that's why it seems kind of cold. It seems like it's like, oh shit, because like they just came out with that fucking that kind of like that stinger like out of nowhere. And it's like, no, it just decided to pull from a different source now.
Right.
So it
found a popular spot in the algorithm, or in its algorithm, that sort of worked its way back around.
They didn't ask if trans women are women, because look, if you have to ask if trans women are women, then the answer is yes, because you just said it.
Yeah.
Right. Like you just said it.
You put it in the, yeah.
It's like saying, are blonde women women? Yeah, man.
Right.
You just said.
Well, they're so upset about pronouns. I can't imagine they understand adjectives.
No, they don't. They don't. All right. So here is if gender is a social construct, and this is grifty. This is a different thing called grifty. if gender is a social construct, how can someone be born the wrong gender? And this is one of those questions that, at a glance, actually does seem to have some point underlying it, but it's only if you don't understand
what those words mean.
The context. Yeah. And so this is definitely one of those grifty fucking questions. So Grok says, "Oh, you stumbled upon the ultimate question, haven't you? Let's break this down. Gender is indeed a social construct, meaning it's a concept created by society to categorize individuals based on their perceived characteristics, behaviors, and roles. But just because something is a social construct doesn't mean it isn't real or doesn't have significant impact on people's lives. Now, let's talk about being, quote unquote, born the wrong gender. Some people are assigned a gender at birth based on their physical characteristics, but as they grow up, they may realize their assigned gender doesn't match their internal sense of self. This is known as gender dysphoria. It's like being given a pair of shoes that don't fit. They might look really nice, but they're uncomfortable and make it hard to walk through life. So when someone says they're born the wrong gender, they're expressing that their assigned gender doesn't align with their internal sense of self. They may choose to transition to a different gender identity that feels more authentic to them. In conclusion, while gender is a social construct, the impact on it has on an individual's life is very real. It's like a game of Monopoly. The rules and roles are made up. But try telling that to someone who's just been sent to jail by the top hat.
Top hat? What the fuck?
I don't think the top hat sends people to jail, right? Like
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, it had me right till the end there. I was like, been a while since I played Monopoly, but I don't think that's how that goes. But I get it. I get what it's saying.
Yeah. So I have a good metaphor I have for understanding like social constructs are real. Mm-hmm. Football is a social construct. But we all kind of know what it is. We know there's different versions of it. There's the version they play, the real version they play in the rest of the world. And then here we call armored concussion ball football. We know the rules. The rules have changed over time, depending on various circumstances. It's real. We all know football is a real thing, but it's a social construct.
People get real brain damage from it all the time.
All the time. Yeah, it's fucking terrible. Concussion ball is no good for you.
Yeah, I mean, yep, 100%. And then there's another one that's like really longish, or maybe it's not much longer. It's just formatted differently, so it looks bigger. But like, it's about the woke mind virus. I don't know. I think most people, if you're watching and you think that the woke mind virus is real, I don't know. What are you doing? I mean, welcome, I guess. But like, what are you getting out of this? Hopefully something.
Hopefully you're learning that it's not a thing.
Yeah. If not, go talk to Grok. All right. So I don't know.
Ask
there you go.
Grok. No, don't ask Grok. You got to pay for fucking Twitter to do it. Like you can't just like use it. You have to like, it's part of the Twitter Plus or whatever they're calling it.
Oh, people get brain damage from your football too. Dang. All right.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's true.
I don't know. At least yours like stays moving. That's what I hate about American football is like, just like everything happens in like 10 seconds and then they stand around for a few minutes. And it's like, and then everything happens and then, okay, now we're standing around again. Wait a while.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of concussion ball.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anybody else unclear about this? Like, do I need to go into any more? Because essentially what it says is more that garbage about like, it's sowing, mistrust, not only in Jewish people, but in Jewish people to the degree that you will potentially not trust just your neighbor who's not even allegedly Jewish. Right.
Right.
Like,
it's the secret Jew thing.
Because
and that's how also you get like when it spawns off into, cultural Bolshevism and then cultural Marxism and
yeah, it's all of these serve the same purpose for the ruling class, which is to keep the working class from solidarity, being united, taking action in unison in solidarity against because man, they really got freaked out about that whole Russian Revolution thing.
They and like everybody got freaked the fuck out about that. It was a whole fucking deal. It's really American. Oh my god.
I did just have like a really dark fucking image of like a movie that takes place in a really dystopian future, right? Where there's like it's football, like American football, but they also have like fucking you know, they have AR-15s and shit on their backs, and they just like
oh my god, that hurts. It hurts my soul. I hate gun culture. I really do. That's another story for another time. We're already tangent filled with this.
So look, there's a lot of anti-Semitism going around these days, and it can be hard to spot as that being that in some, you know, because there's some figures online that are pretty fucking crafty about doing anti-Semitism without it seeming like that.
Right.
And it's
especially right now with the whole Israel-Palestine thing, is that you have like this awful mix of like people trying to smuggle their anti-Semitism into other things, and then you also have the government of Israel trying to call every criticism of them anti-Semitic. And it's a really awful mix. It's one of the reasons I don't like talking about it. And I know that's kind of the point, but I don't know what to do about it. That like, well, this fucking sucks.
Oh, so the movie you're thinking about is The Fan. The Fan. God. Robert De Niro and Wesley Snipes, I believe. So Robert De Niro plays an obsessed fan who's obsessed with Wesley Snipes.
Sure.
I think it was baseball. Or no, maybe was that the football one? Okay, maybe there's one for each.
Idea.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes was playing baseball in that one. That's what it was. Anyway, that's not this episode.
No,
you know, we'll do an episode one day on Wesley Snipes and taxes.
Taxes. I just gotta say.
or
that'll be good for our Fed IRS episode.
Yeah, well, we can do Wesley Snipes and also his taxes, and then also Ryan Reynolds. Like, why did he hate that guy? Why did he, why did he hate other people in his movie besides himself? Why did he hate being referred to as his real name while he was filming? Why did he insist on having notes passed to him, according to Patton Oswalt, for the filming of Blade Trinity? Anyway.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a really funny, he's like describing how you could only like pass notes to him and you didn't want to be talked to directly. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
But he was dude, by the time, because Blade Trinity, they insisted that they have Ryan Reynolds and then what was her name? Jessica Biel.
Oh yeah, okay.
Was in it, and they took up they get a decent amount of screen time.
They get a lot of screen time, yeah.
For a movie called Blade, right? Like, and he was the first two. He was used to being
all about him, yeah.
The star of the show, and yeah, then here come these in the studio mandate kind of thing, and he's just like was not fucking happy about it. Anyway.
Well, welcome to Hollywood.
Yeah, so it's not a competition.
So there's some funny, like, that number gets fudged a lot in some interesting ways, and like Stalin killed a lot of people, yeah, but sometimes like World War II casualties get worked into that.
Oh.
I've read that in a few places, and like I haven't had a chance to dig into it, but like I also know that like there is a huge industry of whataboutism around like Hitler bad but Stalin worse.
Right. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable with any of that shit. Like,
and so like the Soviet Union was bad. That's if anymore you're kind of overselling it.
Yeah. I mean, if you can talk about these things and have, accurate conversations but whenever it's this one is brought up and then the other one is brought up to kind of like counter it, that's weird. It's fucking weird to me.
Right. And also, like, there can be more than one bad thing. It's always been my reaction was just like, oh, well, Stalin killed so many more. And I'm like, okay, what does that have to do with the conversation at hand? Like, is that someone killed less make them good?
Well, the way that I tend to look at it is like the same way that I've talked about like trauma and people who like try to say, "Oh, you got PTSD for that." That's not real PTSD. Or it's like, don't try to measure human suffering, especially on that fucking scale.
Right.
You're not gonna come out with anything useful. It's almost just kind of a fruitless kind of exercise to entertain yourself, is what it seems like when people do that. But anyways,
well, it's just, I think a lot of times it's just trying to divert the conversation.
True. And then sometimes it's just
pure cope.
It is definitely that.
But then there's definitely some people that whenever they talk about this stuff, they
No.
and stay away from those people, man.
Oh yeah. You want to look up any World War II topic? Get fucking ready. And also get ready for your algorithm to be ruined for like a month. With just Nazi shit. And it's just like, you could be looking up something about like the Pacific Theater, and it's just like suddenly Nazi shit. I'm like, what are you even doing here?
Yeah, there's no point in all that shit. It sucks. I mean, I'm tired, I think. Yeah, it's just hitting me. I'm tired.
That's fair. It's Sunday. It's been a week. This is just a rough, and I feel like, this is a hard topic to talk about, especially because like neither of us are Jewish.
No, I mean, the best we can do is like try to come at it from a historical perspective, but also like, just we understand, on a superficial level, the harm that has been caused. It still is caused based on this just bullshit works that should have just been forgotten to history, but certain people felt that, like they could just propagate this fucking Henry Ford.
Right. Yeah. Fuck you, Henry Ford. Fuck that guy in particular. And he's not the only one.
No, but I mean, you have to wonder, like, is he, if Henry Ford hadn't have disseminated that shit, would the U.S. have as much anti-Semitism to the degree that it has? Or is it like life finds a way, except anti-Semitism finds a way, or what?
So I guess here's my thought on that, is that we already had anti-Semitism, like anti-Semitism already had a pretty firm hold here. It's just that like there weren't as many Jewish communities, and you also had, I think, other targets. You had, we talked about a few weeks ago with JFK, with, anti-Catholic panics. You had several different flavors of anti-immigration panics with, Chinese and Mexicans and Germans and Irish and Japanese and so on and so forth. Even some Eastern European related ones that like, I think it was just sort of part of that milieu. And like, when you talk about like the second Ku Klux Klan, like they were, as much as they were, anti-Black, they were very much anti-Catholic, anti-Jew. And I think that even if there wasn't a Henry Ford to finance it, I think it was already here. I think he is a historically interesting symptom, rather than a main propagator of it. I think, especially if you're someone who is like just reading it because like, okay, so like if Henry Ford gave me handed me the protocols and said, read this and I'll pay you, X number of dollars, right? Like, you work for me, so you have to read this. However you want to hypothetically frame it, where you have to read this thing he hands you, and you're reading it like, what's the fucking bunch of bunk? If you're not already indoctrinated into anti-Semitism. Like, I think if you're not indoctrinated in that culture, you're kind of inoculated because it's so bizarre. And, you read the first two, you read the first two protocols, and it's like, well, this is just fucking dumb on its face. Like, if you weren't already primed to believe it was true, you probably wouldn't believe it was true.
Yeah. I'm seeing some controversy about the Walt Disney anti-Semite claims here. I'm gonna have to look into that at some point. But yeah, so if you see on the screen here, this is the week on actual fandom, as well as on in Wednesday's case, a couple other channels.
Is that Mr. TARDIS himself?
That is a photo that came up whenever I searched. No, that's him. I've watched one of his videos.
Oh, okay. Now, for the guys interested, or the people in the audience interested in guys, is there a Mrs. TARDIS?
I haven't gotten that deep into the biography yet.
Okay.
But maybe, I don't know. It could
like, and why does Mr. TARDIS not have his doctorate if it's about Doctor Who? So like, shouldn't we talk to a doctor about Doctor Who?
He's got his nurse practitioner's license. So.
Oh, okay, all right. In time travel.
Yeah. We love that Mr. Hoomst around here.
Mr.
So we've fapped the protocols today.
This one's hard. I'm sorry, guys.
I wanted in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to do it just as good as the guy that does it. Well, now he's a professional. He gets paid a lot. So
like it's one of those things that I feel like if we wanted to do a serious deep dive, we would almost have needed to like pre-record it and just like take regular breaks, because it's hard to talk about. And it's especially because once you get into reading, you're like, wow, this is so fucking dumb. Why do so many people believe this? Why has this killed so many people?
Because people are fucking gross, man. Human beings are fucked up. Love each other. But
yes.
Billism. We're Gainesist around here.
We're a Gainesist. We believe in the protocols of Bill Gaines.
Yep.
I believe
protocols of the elders of comics.
Yes. Support labor.
Yeah.
Do art.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Read comics.
Defend the autonomy of children.
Yes.
But not that could be taken in a bad way. Never mind. Get that.
Well, like you look at like how many of the places where they are pushing all of these like draconian anti-trans laws, like where they want to check kids' genitals to play sports. How many of those places have either limited protections against or have rolled back protections against child marriage? To bring it back to our topic tonight, all this, the blood libel and the protocols rely on this like some level of like protect your kids thing. Well, here we are, the people talking about how we have to protect our kids and we have to do it invasively, also want grown-ass men, typically, to marry children. They want that to be a thing, and they want to make use of child labor. So, like,
yeah,
when someone comes at you with, like, something like the protocols, where it's this, like, look at this damning book with all of these recorded, protocols of this group that's trying to take over the world. And it's like, well, why are you telling me this? Like, what? Because if you want to ask me why I'm telling you about this, I can go into that, because I think moral panics are bad and harmful. And I think we need to be more observant of how we are shown information. I don't need to hide that from you.
So I'm down to read whatever, hear whatever. I feel like I understand it to the degree that I want to. Of course, I'd always want to be able to explain, the history of things better, if that's what you mean. But like, as far as like just explaining, I don't know.
I'm always willing to learn more about that when I am in the mood.
Right.
And that's the other thing, is that like, when you're talking about, anti-Semitism and Nazism and the Holocaust and stuff, like, it's heavy fucking shit. And sometimes I don't want to deal with that right now.
Because we are shockingly unevolved for beings that think we are very evolved.
So I'm gonna push back against this and hopefully end on a little optimism.
Sure. I'm gonna put an image up at the same time, because I was gonna do a little optimism here.
Sure.
To, Go ahead.
So Can we pull the quote back up from Julia?
Where did it go?
Okay, there we go. All right. So I don't think, like, on the whole that we are. I think quite the opposite is true in some ways, is that we, left to our devices, we're social animals who build things. That's impulse number one as a human, right? Is like,
it's true.
We're persistence hunters whose way to adapt to our environment is to adapt our environment to us. We don't have super senses or claws or natural camouflage. We can go for forever and we can build shit, and we're social creatures. I think we have other similar animal drives that do drive us to xenophobia, because that thing looks different, so it's dangerous. And I think if we allow that to fester and go unquestioned, it can lead to these flashpoints of wanton cruelty, both on an individual and geopolitical scale. It sort of spans the metric, but they stand out because they are so cruel and destructive that it stands out as abhorrent. If it was our natural state, we would fucking care. We don't care that we build and create and we make friends and start families, whether it's families with children's or found families or what have you. That's just human nature. We find it normal. It's in the background. It's so far in the background that it's easy to see our worst moments as our default.
I'd like to add to that, so this is just a quote from a great thinker, public figure of history. When confronted with someone who was telling him that, that this is just who we are, it's instinctive. We're a killer species. A great man once said, all right, it's instinctive, but the instinct can be fought. Mm-hmm. We're human beings with the blood of 1 million savage years on our hands, but we can stop it.
Right.
We can admit that we're killers, but we're not going to kill today. That's all it takes, knowing that we won't kill today. Contact Vindicar. I think you'll find that they're just as terrified, appalled, horrified as you are, and that they'll do anything to avoid the alternative I've given you. Peace or utter destruction. It's up to you. James T. Kirk.
The man. So, and I think that, that's another part of it, is that it's easy to hack someone's sense of preservation when you can frame it as, well, these people are trying to destroy you. And that's what the protocols do, right? It is about how the Druze, Dios mio, Morgan, how the Jews are trying to take over the world. So anything you do to them can be framed as defensive. Now, it's not, it's bullshit. But if you're already have been told they're bad, if that's what you know about them, and you get this piece of, let's call it evidence, it's not, but that's what they think it is. It's easy to go, I am not destroying them, I am protecting myself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Very well stated. It's I see arguments like, or we're just like animals, we're no better than animals. Like, well, what animals are we talking about? Because animals don't even, from species to species, don't behave in the same way. They don't socialize the same way. So that's being reductive as hell just to even like claim one or the other.
We're just like animals are. We eat our mates' heads after they impregnate us. What?
That's, some people do, I guess. No, it's
like
this is why I think it all comes down to choice. This is why, I said when I described what a chud is, that chud and choice, if you can equate those two things, starting with the ch sound, you can choose to be a chud or not. Because I've gotten people telling me that, like, oh, you call people chud, this is the same as blah blah blah. No, it's not. It's not.
No, it's choice. You
can stop.
You can stop anytime.
It's like John Delarose was in chat on an Initiative stream one time saying that we're doing hate speech. And I was like, no, man, no. We're
No.
criticizing people for shitty choices and beliefs that they choose to fucking hold and say, and and act on and stuff like that. You can choose to stop doing that.
And here's the thing about chuds. Almost all of them. And I'm going to call them out as cowards a little bit. And maybe this gets them to rethink their positions. You go through your day. If you're a chud, if you like chud channels, or you're the sort of people we would call a chud. Hi, I'm Morgan. Nice to meet you. You go through your day. You walk around the world. You go to your work. You go to the store. And you don't do any of that stuff. You are, in terms of your actions, not a chud. You make the choice not to be a chud throughout your day, throughout your life. You make the choice.
But then you get on the internet.
And then you get on the internet, or you get around people who talk like that, and you do it to for whatever reason you do it. Yeah, I'm not a mind reader, but you do it. You've made the choice. But you don't have to, and you know you don't have to, because the whole rest of the time you make other choices. You don't go up to black people in the grocery store and go, 13%. You don't see a trans person at Meijer and go, 41%. No, you don't do that. You go, maybe you snicker to yourself or whatever. You think, oh, well, they're weird or they're bad, or you give them the side eye or whatever. But you make the choice to just move on with your life. And that's all you have to do. Is just move on with your life.
100%. Yeah, it's and I actually want to kind of push back on the whole animal thing a little bit more, because chuds have this wealth of information at their fingertips that animals don't have, So if any violent animals that are violent towards other animals, it's not like they have all of the knowledge, the accumulated human knowledge of history, like at their fucking fingertips. Animals don't have that. They can't read it. They can't go, oh wait, no, I was mistaken about this. Whereas like chuds are so fucking arrogant, and despite being ignorant, then there's like definitely a metric there. Like those two things are kind of intrinsic to a chud, or not intrinsic. I don't want to say that, but they're part of what makes a chud is choosing ignorance and arrogance and going, I don't care that like all of the fucking major, medical institutions, say that this is actually the way to, be a decent human being, and the best thing for trans people is for them to be affirmed in their identity. I don't care about that. I'm going to say that I know better. I'm going to say that this YouTube fucking guy that I watched on, that tells me this shit, that's really worried about children's genitals for some reason, but I'm going to go ahead and side with him on this.
Right. This guy who's obsessed with children's genitals tells me about how these other people are really the ones who are obsessed with children's genitals and how they're the real problem.
And he's also literally described himself as a Christian fascist, but I'm going to set that aside. Anyway, yeah, that's the arrogance and the ignorance that pisses me off about it. Is that like, come on, man, it's not like for instance, I did a video on Flash Gordon a couple of years ago, and I got to the part of talking about Alex Raymond as creator and the character of Ming the Merciless being a very fucking disgusting yellow peril kind of thing. And it's like, and this may be controversial even still, I don't know, but in my mind, I do as fucking racist and shitty and stuff like that. But like before we had the accumulated fucking history and context of everything at our fingertips, I don't say, I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's forgivable or whatever, but there's like a little bit more understanding of why people were ignorant at certain points in the past,
right?
Because they were very limited to what they had, and so that they would get like a pamphlet come around now and then that tells them about Asian people or something, and they're like, oh my god,
right? Well, and a lot of it was yellow peril shit, right? Like that was a huge issue. And you mean the reason there were so many Chinese people in the United States is because they were imported laborers for the railroads,
which is another example of the same shit we were talking about today, where like these are people that it was like just trying to get by in life, just trying to survive, and they end up in a situation where everyone around them decides, oh wait, these fucking people are something going on here, and yeah, it's a choice. we all have a, our brains are not super duper evolved from where they were whenever we just became, Homo
No.
sapiens in the first place. So there's that part of our brain that points out to us whenever something is different than what we're used to.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has it.
Yep.
The thing that makes a person a decent person or a piece of shit is, do you just run with that impulse to be scared, or to just you embrace that, like, oh fuck this thing, I don't like it, I'm gonna commit all of my time and energy and resources and identity toward being against this thing, rather than just take some time and learn and be a human being and recognize them as a human being and go, oh, okay, that's different, but I can learn something from that difference, instead of, I don't know.
Being a skeptic starts in your own head. And that means being skeptical of your emotions. And by being a skeptic, I don't mean deny them, not being a denialist. That's not what a skeptic is, but it means understanding them and understanding why you feel that way and what you actually know. And then proving yourself right or wrong.
Yep.
And you do that by interacting with people. And that's one of the things these, why the elders, the protocols tell you about, like, all the secret Jew stuff is that you can't trust anyone. Everyone's a liar. Anyone could be a secret Jew.
It's pressing on that fucking primitive impulse, and telling you that's actually the right thing, and that's exactly what Trump did. That's how he turned my dad into a guy who used to just kind of have some kind of crappy fucking biases that he would never say aloud and never act on. To he basically, Trump comes along and says, no, actually, that shit's all great. You run with that 100 miles an hour and head first into that, and then my dad's a piece of shit now. He, instead of just being somebody that he'd probably never fucking hurt anybody's feelings with any views that he had or biases that he held or anything, but now it's a virtue to him and to millions of other people like him. Because
not when you make ignorance a virtue, it's a problem.
Big problem. We got to do something about these Christian. I mean, I'm no, sorry. Don't. I was reading something.
The protocols of the elders of the Vatican.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. You want to talk about people that have a lot of power and influence over a lot of shit. The Christians are the ones, guys. And then they're also the ones that are like, we're so fucking oppressed and stuff. We're like,
it's one of those weird dichotomies, because the religion is all about being the poor outsider who is oppressed, but they're none of those things. And so what do? Well, to be a good Christian, you have to be, some combination of those things, right? So you don't want to be poor, especially in America, where we make wealth a virtue and exploiting people a virtue. You don't really want to be an outsider, but it's easy to make yourself persecuted.
Ada, that's kind of, that's really, honestly, just kind of a silly.
We literally have
kind of thing. Like,
what are you talking about?
We can already do it in theory. Just it would take a long time, and people would be frozen for a lot of decades.
Right. Like, can we travel in space? Yeah, we've got that figured out. The problem is that, like, it turns out space is big, and there's a speed limit, and that's an issue. And that just might be a limitation of reality, right? Like, that there might not be a way to go faster than the speed of light that we can harness. That just might be true.
More than likely, if we ever do go past our own star system, then it's going to be based on fucking freezing people for decades or long. There's been movies about it, and it's like the most realistic possibility at this point.
And as far as, like, human technology, like, we have, not only do we have technology that can visually, it's kind of under explaining it, but visually explore beyond our solar system, but also, like, the Voyager 1 probe has crossed outside the solar system. There is now a piece of humanity that is now in interstellar space. And we did that you know, in less than a century of space travel. That, you know, we've come a long way, and it's important to respect that and be willing to do the hard work and grow and see what we can do, because the future might be out there, but it's also here. And it's also, we have to live in reality to make it. We can't go, oh, we're never going to achieve an interstellar civilization. Well, that might be true. But so what? We've got to do with what we've got, and we can do it.
So I want to kind of address a misunderstanding here. Is I guess I'm going to be the atheist that knows this stuff a little bit better than maybe some religious people. I don't know. So Terror Story says Jesus called for great tribulation and the death of almost the entire human race. Not exactly the meek and mild guy that's been sold in popular media. So yes and no. So yes, because Jesus, as he said, quote unquote, as Jesus said, you know, he's not here to change or retract anything that his daddy said in the Old Testament. That's something that, you know, modern Christians love to try to act like the Old Testament doesn't apply,
except when it does.
Except when it does, of course. And then, you know, let's see, wait, where is it at? Yeah, Crawling Chaos said that's not what I learned was taught about Jesus. Yeah, because the stuff that's taught generally in church is the good stuff, the actually kind of usually pretty cool stuff that's like, hey, that's base, man, like, you know, feeding the poor and stuff.
So it's important to remember that the Bible is not a cohesive book. It is an anthology of books written over hundreds of years by unknown authors. And even the Gospels were written by, you know, different people who might have been inspired by each other. But, you know, talk about plagiarism, right? Like, there is some things copied word for word between the Gospels and some things that are, you know, fudged. And none of it is consistent throughout. So there's a lot of mixed messages. And I think this is one of those things that, like, you can find a Bible quote for whatever the fuck you want to say. So if you want to say Jesus is going to come and wipe out the wicked, you can find a quote for that. If you want to say Jesus is a good guy who believed in the meek and the poor, you can find a quote for that.
Well, that's why you can look at one direction and see a church where everybody's happy and singing and they're joyous and stuff like that. And then, you know, down the road, there's a church and they're, you know, preaching fire and brimstone and shit, because it's all in there. It's all in there. Calling it a book is almost like not even really accurate. Anthology. Yeah. It's a bunch of different garbage bullshit. Sorry to interrupt. I mean, insult anybody that's religious, but, you know, like, yeah. Like, if you're a religious person, then I think you probably, and you're watching this channel,
I think you probably know you've built something good out of it, and I am proud of you for doing that.
Bingo. Like, the same way that I have built something good out of Star Trek lore and X-Men lore, and I think it's more believable. But anyway,
I think believability is separate from morality.
Sorry. What I mean. Yeah. Okay. All right, folks.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, it's 3 hours.
3 hours. Good time to cut it. Subscribe to Chariot.
Yeah, check out Chariot.
Let me put there.
Check out Mr. TARDIS. I want you guys to find out. This is your homework. Find out if there's a Mrs. TARDIS or another Mr. TARDIS.
Another Mr. TARDIS could be.
Or a mixed TARDIS. I want to know their marital status. That's the homework.
Is that the MX thing? Is that how you pronounce that?
Mixed
TARDIS. That sounds weird. That word.
It's a little weird.
No, not the mixed part. Just saying mixed TARDIS. It's like,
yeah, it's a little
elusive to something. Check out Turf Nation.
Check out Turf Nation. Check out Bob on Organized Chaos. Check out DJ over on all of DJ's channels.
Oh, look, Pop Counterculture has a new video as of an hour ago. It's a review of Godzilla -1.
Nice.
So
Godzilla. Oh yeah, if Godzilla -1 was very good, and I've seen all the chuds go like, oh, this is super anti-woke. And I'm like, I don't know what movie you watched or but part of it is that woke doesn't mean anything. Like, woke is a meaningless word. It means nothing. It is an empty signifier for thing that makes you feel uncomfortable politically.
I gotta see this Godzilla movie, man. Godzilla, Godzilla, that whole kaiju verse, that whole thing's having like a renaissance right now with
Well, the monster verse is separate from the Toho stuff.
I know, but I mean, still, just the
but
whole.
It is all
the whole
kaiju,
vibe.
and kaiju are fun.
Yeah, it's having a renaissance. You got that show on that's pretty good from what I've seen so far.
I need to. That's on my to-do list for my time off of work.
Yeah, there was a video that they actually released a thing saying that, and that was the name of my stream the other day. It was fandom trivia and Godzilla and Trans Godzilla, because that.
So Julia, rhymes. They answered that question in Strange New Worlds. It is because time travelers have kept fucking up history. So, like, when the eugenics war happens, keeps changing. Because there was an episode of Strange New World where La'an and an alternate universe Kirk end up in Canada. And like they fight another time traveler who is trying to kill Khan, and she's complaining about how like the date has changed so many times, and when Khan comes to power keeps changing because people like her keep coming back in time to fuck with things.
It's true. Strange New Worlds, man, what a good show.
It's very good.
I'll be honest, I need to give season 2 a rewatch because it felt a little bit disjointed and weird compared to the first one to me. But
I was not as big a fan as the second season, but there are some banger episodes still.
I do have some music on the way out that reference to came up during the stream, so we're gonna listen to that.
All right. Well, see you all next week.
Wait! I forgot to talk about this. If you do not follow me on Patreon, which you can do for free, you should, because tomorrow I'm gonna do the first of. I'm gonna try and do it weekly. I'm calling it Mindful AF. It's gonna be talking about some music. I'm incorporating some of my music interest into this. I'm gonna be talking about mindfulness, mindful breathing, meditation. We're talking about some trauma, some panic attacks and shit like that. So if anxiety, anything like that you deal with at all on any level, I might be able to give you something that helps you out, or at least set you down a path. And nonetheless, it's just going to be chill, hanging out, ask questions, talk about stuff, whatever, on Patreon. I will potentially take music requests or recommendations, because I think that I can just do whatever over there without any kind of copyright shit. Yeah, exactly. Let's get fucking mindful, y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
Shit fucking changed my life, dog. You know what I mean? I ain't even kidding. Where is DJ?
Not on this show.
He doesn't really appear on this show.
Yeah, sorry.
He has, I think, once, but
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, we're not the initiative. That's a different day. I know they're cooler than me. It's fine. You like them more. I see how it is.
I'm not offended that you asked, because look,
like, I don't get offended by shit.
Well, I'm offended that you asked, so I would like you to apologize by subscribing to Dane on Patreon.
But before we really end it, I just want to play a little bit of this song first.
Inside my mind, and in my dreams I've kissed your lips 1,000 times. Sometimes see you pass.
Okay, sorry. That was what I was going to end the stream with, because that makes sense to end it with a song called Hello, right?
Yeah.
This song, though, that we're going to end it with is from Jazz Dog. You should subscribe to Jazz Dog.
All right.
I think he's still pretty cool. I
have no idea.
But yeah. So this references the whole Vosh and American Johnson thing from earlier. You guys are fucking wonderful. Still 34 of you watching. Just been consistently chill and listening, and probably some of you are laughing and downvoting and cringing and stuff like that. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for thinking that we are. you took finite time from your lifetime, from your finite life, and focused on us, and we appreciate you for it.
I'm always happy to see folks.
We just like to have have some effect on somebody. Yeah. It lets us know we're alive. Okay, I'm really tired now. I love you guys, but not in a parasocial way. So have a good week. Take care of yourselves and one another, and peace.
I'm non-compete. Nazis had a point. I'm Luna Boy. Nazis had a point. I'm not complete. Nazis had a point. Nazis had a point. I'm not complete. Nazis had a point. Nazis had a point.
Adults can molest children and have to pause it out. Adults can molest children and have to pause it out. Adults can molest children and have to pause it out. Adults can molest children and have to pause it out. Adults can molest children and have to pause it out. Adults can molest children and have to pause it out. Adults can molest children and have to pause it out. Adults can molest children and have to pause it out. You insulting my wife. The Nazis have the power. Maybe the Nazis have the power. Maybe the Nazis have the power. Maybe the Nazis have the power. You insulting my wife. The Nazis have the power. Maybe the Nazis have the power. Maybe the Nazis have the power. Maybe the.
This is getting stupid.
May Bill Gaines shine his heavenly light upon you and impregnate you with many happy days and joy fetuses. May your anuses be cleansed by the purifying light that exudes from Bill Gaines' eternal dragon phallus. Should you meet your mortal demise this day, go with comfort that you have satisfied the commands of the one true Bill, those being this: read comic books. Fuck the dumb shit. Be yourself. Love each other. Also, read more comics and grow your hair out all goddamn while. Amen.
Actual fandom is not going to stop.